Hey everybody, we're live, and in just a moment, actually approximately a few seconds, uh, the A's groundbreaking will commence. Welcome everybody, and it's an exciting day. This day, for me, marks a time period that started back in November, actually October of 1996, when I explained to the Oakland City Council that the A's needed a new ballpark because while we refurbished the stadium, we did it for the Raiders and not for the A's in baseball. And so we have a new problem. On top of that, Camden Yards was just completed in 93. It ushered in a new era of baseball design, and it creates more complications for us because it's going to be harder for us to meet the state of the art when the state of the art says have your own stadium and have a design that reflects the traditions and everything else. So, of traditions of our baseball architecture and all that. So, we went through the first iteration where the choice was between 5 different sites, and Uptown emerged as the favorite, the downtown, but Oakland Mayor Jerry Brown, um, Oakland Mayor Jerry Brown says that, hey, there's not going to be a ballpark in Oakland downtown as long as I'm blanking mayor. Yeah, he cursed about it. Okay. Um, hey, Matthew, welcome. And I don't care what he says. So at any rate, and it's ridiculous. But at any rate, we went from Jerry. If Jerry Brown had not rejected the athletics ballpark in Uptown, we would not be sitting here today. Okay? We would simply not be sitting here today. That's a fact, Jack. Um, but here we are. Because after that happened, Jerry Brown gave way to Ron Dellums as mayor. Ron Dellums started the Sports Entertainment Task Force, and Frank Dobson, the late Frank Dobson, late Bob Lesty, great friend of mine, and Steve Lowe, still a great friend of mine, created an idea to have retail around the Coliseum in Oakland. And that idea morphed. Well, actually, you want to be blunt about it. Larry Reed, Oakland Councilmember, stole what was their idea and came up with the idea for Coliseum City and pushed it in a RFP, request for proposals, to attract a developer to build it. That started another era of fits and starts with developers who really sing his songs. Most notably Floyd Gephardt, who claimed to have money he didn't have. That wasted a lot of time. And so while Floyd was playing his game with both the A's and the Raiders at the Coliseum, Doug Boxer, the son of Barbara Boxer, then our senator, great California senator, started his Let's Go Oakland campaign to keep the A's in Oakland and wanted to build this facility at a new site, Howard Terminal. Really, it wasn't new at all. Howard Terminal actually was merged as a part of the 5 site competition in 2001, and it was a favorite of some, but everyone knew if you wanted to build there, you're going to need at least $151 million to mitigate the sea level rise problem. And but the number one choice was Howard was Uptown, but Uptown was taken off the table by Jerry Brown, who then brought in Forest City. Uh, well, he didn't bring in Forest City. I brought Forest City to Oakland, but Jerry Brown stole Forest City from me. True story. To build housing, I brought Forest City in to build a downtown retail and residential complex that was a cross between Times Square and in Oakland and the gas lamp district, Times Square in New York, and the gas lamp district in San Diego. And if you've been to either place, you should think, wow, that would have been really exciting, Zenny, because it would have. At any rate, uh, Doug Boxer stepped forward during that time, okay, and had the idea to build a Howard Terminal yet again. That lasted to 2014 when it was officially killed by environmentalists, most notably a woman by the name of Vivian Kahn. Sandwiched between there was an effort to build first in Fremont, which no one liked except the people in the Fremont and the mayor. And then San Jose was taken off the table because the Giants wanted 5.5 million a year from the Athletics if they even dared to go against Major League Baseball constitution and move to San Jose. On top of that, it simply well, really was a rating of the Giants fan base down there. The Giants got 47% and get 47% of their fan base from that area. Okay? John Acala says, you think the A's would be playing in Vegas already had Sacramento not made an offer to them? Or where did you think they were gone temporarily? I think had that not worked out, they would have wound up, there's a possibility they would wound up across the bay. Okay? There was talk of that. That didn't happen. But I believe that if Sacramento hadn't emerged, Oakland, I think someone would have gotten into the head of Oakland Mayor Channing Towne and said, hey, you know what? Why don't you modify this so they can stay in town and try to reduce your ask and work this out? But Shang really mishandled it, trying to use the A's as a piggy bank for a budget. That was the first iteration of what I call the AASEG style of budgeting, right? Where it says, hey, I got an idea. We'll use your sale to pay for part of our budget shortfall. That sort of thing. If Shang were not in the business of trying to do that, the Athletics would have been in Oakland to this day. Okay? Again, it's government. And this happens in the face of A's fans who don't live in Oakland all the time. And it's like they don't understand government. And maybe Richard Dreyfuss, yes, the same Richard Dreyfuss who starred in Jaws, was right about that sort of thing. Let me do something while I'm thinking about this. I want to send out an invite. Yeah, I can do this with my phone. I want to send out an invite. See if I can get this man to join me. Booney. Maybe he's there. I don't know. But at any rate, we've got to get into the groove. StreamYard, there it is. Get into the groove, yes. And I'm really excited about this because the Athletics, the one thing you could say what you want, but the Athletics set out to build something really iconic. First in Oakland, and then it got watered down by the community, and now in Las Vegas. The Oakland version originally started with this, I call it right angles ballpark, right? That looked like a kind of a jewel box. Gorgeous. I mean, man, I can see in my mind's eye that thing lit up at night right now. Howard Terminal. A beacon of light drawing everybody to Oakland. That's what it would have been. But nope, the city had to go and do what it does. It blew it. Someone once said regarding violence at Lake Merritt during Juneteenth a couple of years ago that we can't have anything nice in Oakland. And there, I do think there's a certain mindset that says, hey, look, some way, shape, or form, we don't want to succeed. We are afraid of success. And I dare anybody to go back through Oakland's history and prove me wrong, because even the times we were successful were because we managed to overcome those forces that said we couldn't do it. All right, that's a horrible, horrible track record to have, but Oakland has it. And the biggest problem right now is that Oakland. Think about it. For those of you saying, "Hey, you want the A's in Oakland?" Riddle me this: why hasn't the city of Oakland itself stepped up and said anything about trying to get the A's back to the Coliseum until the Athletics are ready to go to the Las Vegas ballpark? What about that? Okay? I mean, what about that? That hasn't happened at all. So it's a sad day. It's a reminder of the failures that that we've had as a city. And I wear black for that reason, because I was going to wear A's colors, and started to, and um, I decided to wear black because it represents yet another example. Well, here we go. We have the live stream. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Be covering it for you. Dallas Braden's going to be joining me in a moment. The voice of the Athletics, Ken Korak, is here, and so many others. We're going to talk to the CEO of MGM and really talk about the relationship that's going to be established with the Athletics and what's going to happen down here in Las Vegas. We just saw our buddy Derek Stevens from Circa. Soon we're going to be doing shows from Circa. It's going to be absolutely incredible, the opportunity for the ball club in the next couple of years, let alone when we open this palace in 2028. Dallas Braden, obviously, we all know, one of the great A's players, also our television analyst for NBC Sports California, but really such a big part of this A's family. You know, we've talked about this for so long. And we've talked, about all the different places the A's could end up, but now it's finally real, right? To get here and to see all of it and to see that the foundations are being built, that there's things being built coming up from the ground. This is really cool.
Well, it's not only the foundations that are being built, it's already the foundations that have been laid and the foundations that will continue to be laid, not only for the ballpark, but for the tools that are going to build the ballpark. When you first get here and you step into the dirt, you step into the footprint, you get an idea of just how far along this process has already gotten. And I think where we're at right now, what feels like an initial phase, we've talked about it for a long time, Tony, and you and I have talked about it, when shovels are in the ground. And, well, that's what today represents, is that big moment.
And to know that a home is coming, and we'll be in Sacramento until 2027, but really to give all A's fans something to look forward to, that you will have, without a doubt, the best ballpark in baseball. This is going to be so unique. You're going to have people coming from all over, just not only the United States fans. You're going to have fans come from all over the world to see this ballpark.
Well, and I think what's really exciting is the idea of continuing to grow and build that fan base, especially here in this area, right? There's been a lot of work. There's been foundations that have been laid in the community, and that those steps are continuing to be taken. And I think when you start to talk about what you get excited about when you think about baseball, when you think about coming to the ballpark, it's an event. It is a show, and I'm not sure there are any other places on the planet that do show business better than Las Vegas.
So take you out of your work as a television analyst and take you back as a former player. We've already seen it with the NFL. We've seen it with the NHL. Guys want to play in this city.
They do.
What is that you think going to be like for baseball when free agents talk about where they want to play? This is going to be a destination for free agents.
Well, I don't think there's any question, and I don't think there's any wondering why this place would be a destination. Not only if you're a player looking to find a home in free agency, or if you're a player who is starting to make their way to the big leagues and realizes your front doorstep could very well be on the strip, right?
Yeah.
In Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So the excitement that I think this city is surrounded by, that this city generates, is just going to be one aspect of what life is like in the big leagues here in Las Vegas.
Now, obviously, there's been Elvis. There's been some of the biggest talents. Is Vegas ready for Dallas Braden?
Oh, I think Vegas is more than ready for Dallas Braden. The Strip and my record, I'm going to say my win-loss record, the Strip might have one or two up on me.
You don't
right
have
now,
a lot of perfect games here.
I'm going to turn him down for a second because John Acala was saying maybe when AESCG takes over the Coliseum. Hey, Bruce. You could fully reproach Oakland officials and try to get the A's back for a few years. Well, by the time AESCG takes over, let's see, there'll be, I would say, 2027 effectively. That'll be 1 year. And the ballpark will get to a point where its steel structure will come into play, and it'll be pretty obvious that that's going to be really difficult. Yeah, it's a hard ask to do when you've had so many times at the bat, literally. Okay, what we have to do as a city is go expansion team. We have to have a plan and proposal. We have nothing. Okay? We have nothing. All right? We have nothing. And the simple fact that we have nothing today is, frankly speaking, a testament to our lack of trying to really make a ballpark happen. Let's be honest. All right, Oakland has to work on this instead of whining, well, we don't have any money. Figure out how to get it. Act like your life is at stake with this stuff. We used to do that. We stopped doing it. We don't do it anymore. All right? We don't. Bruce says, yes, it will be built. Yeah, it will. They're on the same path the Raiders were, and I lived on the way. And I think about Godfather Grizz, rest in peace, to Greg Jones, father of Forever Oakland. But at any rate, they're on the same path, development path, that the Raiders were on that got them Allegiant Stadium. All right? And look, given Las Vegas woes, it needs this. It really needs to have more places for people to come so that new money can be developed to offset the fact that you have declining visitor rates in Las Vegas. And those declining rates produce lower revenues. Those lower revenues, produce less money. And less money means fewer jobs. That's a fact. Okay, so they need the money. They also need the bailout from the federal government that Las Vegas never got. Thank you, and deserve to have. And Trump promised them during his first administration. That never transpired. All right, that never transpired at all. But Las Vegas is about the task of doing what it does best, changing its economy. The question is Oakland doing that same thing? I would argue, yeah, like that. We have a problem in Oakland where AT&T is closing. This was news that was just shared to me today, with me today. What is it like for you when you go in there? Because I was looking, and there's people who know you from your UNL. He said, you have a lot of roots here. Excuse me, let me get this that Derek Sue was telling me. He said that AT&T has left East Oakland. This is from famed homeless vlogger who was actually one of our vloggers, Derek Sue. Says AT&T has left Oakland, East Oakland, service yard due to crime in Oakland. Saw service trucks moving spools of cable being moved out on Friday. Gone this morning, Monday morning. He shared this at 10:21 a.m. Eastern. Yard is empty. 4 city blocks are sitting empty. And folks, this is what, if you can see that looks like. Okay. And I'll also give you a better view. I'll change this for a second here. This is what that looks like, okay?
You really have to have that
All right? That's where AT&T used to be. It's gone. That's East Oakland. You see that? Okay? All right? And we've done nothing to fix this. And the current mayor, God love Barbara Lee, but Barbara has not put an emphasis on delivery on time. Time on task. Understand that? Time on task. That hasn't happened. And so, hey, wait, we gotta hear Bill Hornbuckle. This is one of the men that makes it happen. You gotta hear Bill. Hold on a second.
On the block, it's a huge day for the city, for the state. Talk about what it means to you.
Look, we started this about a decade ago, and what we didn't have was professional sports.
Yeah.
We had seen back in the early 90s the success of the Running Rebels, and we knew this was a sports town. We, MGM, built T-Mobile, got extremely lucky with Bill Foley and the Golden Knights. Obviously, that translated itself into the Legion Stadium and now the Raiders. And now to be able to get this venue all within what we call the Golden Triangle, within a mile of us here, there'll be like 6 million sporting and event tickets available in the course of a year. And so for our properties, which as you know are situated all on the south end of the street, it's spectacular to have MGM right next door. And look, Mark Bedan and I go all the way back now 5 or 6 years when the Allegiant project started. To have him as part of this program is exciting for us.
Yes, I used to work for Mark with the Raiders, and I know what a great leader he is. How big was that when he was brought on by the A's to be the president?
Spectacular move. Look, they needed a local presence. They needed somebody who understood the community, how to get things done. Like any community, we work, and particularly given the nature of our business here, we work a little different than most. But he knew it because he had that experience and successfully had that experience with Allegiant. And so to have Mark on this team is very comforting for all of us, particularly me.
I'm thinking about how long you've been down here in the desert for decades. Do you ever just sit back and see, wow, just how much the strip, how much everything has changed?
I was sitting at one of our restaurants at Bellagio looking across the lake, and I started my career in '77 at the Jockey Club across the lake, and I'm looking at all this going, wow, 45 years later, look what's happened here. It's exciting. And, Las Vegas continues to evolve, whether it be resort, gaming, obviously through food and beverage, entertainment, and now sports. We couldn't be more happy that the A's are here and what it means, not only with the location, but ultimately the programming.
Yeah, we've had Steve Hill on the program many times, and he's talked about once the A's get here, there's basically going to be a sporting event like every other day.
Yeah.
Professional sporting event in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it'd be nonstop, literally, because obviously hockey goes like 9 months. Football is concentrated fall and hopefully late into January, February.
Yes. We'll see. We get the Raiders to that point. We're all
we'll see.
Yeah.
And then obviously you fill out the entire summer months. And then the ancillaries. I mean, Allegiant Stadium is obviously there's 8 football games. Reality is there was like 42 events there last year. And so it has become a hub for just entertainment and sports. And we hope this also becomes as well.
As one of the leaders here, when did it become important to say we need professional sports here in Las Vegas?
Look, we saw what it did in 2016 when we brought in Bill Foley and ultimately the Golden Knights and their success. That stadium has sold out ever since. We budgeted $250 million of seat licenses for Allegiant Stadium. At $550, Mark Davis said, stop. I need to save a few more seats here. So that the appeal of the town and what that means for sports, because it's not a 3-hour game, it's a 3-day event is what really happens here. And so people come, they come in mass. You go to an Allegiant football game, and it'll be the same thing for the A's. If someone's team is in town, there's as many people supporting the Kansas City Chiefs as there are the Raiders to the Chiefs game. And so it's exciting for the community because obviously we house all those people. They stay here and they come in for a good time.
And of course, as you said, you got 3 properties right next door when everybody's come in. And I always think about for Vegas and baseball, it's the summertime. That's one thing kind of was lacking down here is having that big event during the summer.
Absolutely. Look, because of the heat, obviously this is a dome stadium, thankfully.
Yes. Air conditioning
dome stadium. All that said, it's a slower time of year. And so the more we can pump it, I mean, when I say slow, by the way, we run 90% occupancy, so you have to keep relevance to that number. But all that being said, it really puts programming in the right time of year for the community and for all of us. And given the location we all have, we're pretty excited by that.
How important is the relationship that's going to be going forward with MGM and the Athletics and Major League Baseball?
It's essential. We've had a relationship with Major League Baseball since 2018. We've been a major sponsor of MLB for a long time. You go to Fenway Park, the Green Monster has BetMGM on it. So the whole activity case between sports betting and sports and now Las Vegas and all this has turned into is really important to the company and something we continue to leverage off of and leverage on and sponsor and support in a meaningful way. And we'll continue to do that.
I've heard you're a New England guy. You're a Red Sox fan?
I am a Red Sox fan. Back in the day of Carl Yastrzemski, though. It's been a while. Rico Petrocelli, all those guys. It's been a while. It's been a while.
The good old days of Fenway
Park. It was
Park.
the good old days.
Well, and that's gaming and baseball baseball has changed. You've watched it change. You've been a big part of that change.
Look, I think what happens now with sports betting is it takes, you're not just focused on the end result. Of course, people are focused on the end result of the game, but the activity case, the ability to keep people attracted to an event because the next pitch matters, the next at-bat matters, because sports betting allows that to happen. I think it's an interesting and fun thing, not only for the game, but for spectators as well. And it builds a bond between all of that. I think it's working. I know it's working.
So have you thought of major plans of what's going to happen with MGM, the athletics, and once this thing happens in 2028?
We want to see more of what Bally's is going to do. Obviously, we'll be very focused on the launch of the stadium and a partnership with the A's, whether it's parking, ticketing, suites, etc. Same kind of thing we do with the Legion and ultimately with ourselves at T-Mobile and the Golden Knights. But all that said, I want to see what Bally's ends up doing here, how we want to connect to this site in terms of bridges and whatnot, because we do want to take another crack at all of that, and then see what to develop out. We have, obviously, across the street, Luxor and Excalibur. Yeah. There's plenty of developable land there as well. And so let's one day at a time here, but let's see how this develops itself out.
Just how important is it that we got a baseball guy who's running MGM? That's a big deal, right?
Yeah. Third base, not so good, but third base.
Well, you know what? This is a huge day for the city. The future in 2028, it's just going to be incredible, obviously, with the Raiders and what's happened with the Knights. And, of course, the NBA at some point is going to be here.
Well, we hope so. We're plugging like hell for that.
Well, congratulations with everything you've done. We're staying in your property right now. All your properties are beautiful. And we look to be and develop a relationship here on A's Cast and have you on quite a bit. Even when the Red Sox
okay,
here.
Folks,
I'll bite the ball.
I want to say something about Bill. First of all, let me answer this. John says, do you think they'll have to upgrade the Coliseum? Yes. They may wind up tearing it down. I'm talking about AASCG. And all right, we'll see. We'll see how that goes, okay? So also, I want to emphasize something. John also says this. Las Vegas is just now missing the NBA, but I think it's just be a matter of time. Yeah. Now, Bill Hornbuckle, in the face of Hornbuckle, I want to emphasize something. Aside from being a Minch, that guy is representative of Las Vegas business. Think about Howard Terminal. In the case of Howard Terminal in Oakland, name one business person in Oakland that made themselves constantly available to the media, involved, advocating. Name one. One business person. It doesn't have to be a small business or large business. You didn't hear about any business person. All you heard about were politicians, right? Okay? In the old days of Oakland, we had business people involved. The old days of Oakland are essentially the days of Las Vegas. You see, they have Las Vegas business wants the A's there. The casinos. Now you say, that's just the casinos. But it's business. All right? This is economic development 101. This is how cities work economically from a social standpoint. You want the Bill Hornbuckles of the world, they're advocating for your facility. Making sure, by the way, that it gets the additional investment dollars it needs. Because they have a stake in seeing that it is successful. And that's also true in Oakland. The trouble is that the City of Oakland didn't launch it that way. It didn't establish a business council. All right? It was quick to establish a community group, okay, to get their voices. But it forgot about business and getting its voice and involvement. And business has the money, okay? So I want you all to hear this and see this and gain a lesson in how a city is supposed to do things. Las Vegas is giving that to a city that's supposed to learn it, and that's Oakland. And Oakland used to do it, but the current people in Oakland who run it, many of whom are my friends, have forgotten how, if they ever knew how. And since they're younger than I am, I will say they didn't know how. All right? That's the problem. And it's a sad statement that we have to go through this, but we need to take our medicine. Someone asked me how come I have Oakland and it's really Las Vegas. because they were the Oakland A's. And I want everybody to realize that this happened because of Oakland's failure. That's what has to be brought home here and constantly communicated. This happened because of Oakland's failure. Nothing else. All right? Oakland does it right. The Athletics are where? In Oakland. Oakland does it wrong. The Athletics are Sacramento, bound for Vegas. Okay? You can't say we wouldn't have had a world-class, superbly designed facility, because we would have. The simple fact of the matter is that the city did what it famously does. Oakland works on Oakland's time, and it doesn't want to work on the time of major league sports organizations. It proved that with the NFL and the Raiders, and it proved that with the Warriors, and it proved that with the A's. Oakland people who are in charge of being responsible for these things are too tied up in, well, I'm just as important as they are. All right, one of our council members, I won't name, I will, Lynette, because she did it. Lynette Gilson McElhaney, my friend, did this, okay? And as John Collins says, yeah, Oakland blew it for sure. She made Ronnie Lott and his group. We were trying to keep the Raiders in Oakland, okay? And I was there when this happened. And I took a picture of them. We're sitting front city council seats. All Lynette had to do, out of courtesy for what they're doing and the magnitude of the importance their project has on the economic development of the city, all she had to do was move the agenda to bring them up, because their presentation would have been a short one. Get them out of the way, just to show respect. She made them sit. 3 hours. I'm not kidding you. She made them sit 3 hours as a statement to them that their thing's more important than their project. I'm not kidding you. Okay? I am not kidding you. All right? That's what she did. That's Oakland. Okay? And so you wonder why sports aren't in Oakland? There are a multitude of reasons. It's a mosaic. I can go on and on and on, and I will. I will. Folks get these positions, they get triggered, their ego gets in the way, and they have to show you their, hindquarters. All right? And I love Lynette, but that's a fact. That's a fact, straight on fact, okay? We did that. And we shouldn't have, okay? We should not have. Let's see who's in the picture here for the groundbreaking. In this, going back to this, I believe it's there's Mark.
Caring community here, and you need to enter it the right way, and you need to behave the right way, and you need to care about it here, and you need to be present. And I wanted to make sure that was a part of the commitment, and it has been, and they assured me it will be, and I've seen that just in the few months that I've been on board.
Well, that's something that I've definitely learned, is that Vegas still has a small town mentality, and everybody knows each other. And like you said, when you get here, you have to conduct yourself the right way. So how much have you learned from your Raider days to where you are now about how to do business in this city, this community, the county, and the state?
Well, most of them are in the tent right now. So that's sort of emblematic of what this community is about. When there's a project like this and something that is going to drive tourism and drive visitation and is going to add to the fabric of the community here, and the whole audience is all kids. Yeah. And obviously this project is about a ballpark, and it's about the jobs and the job creation, but it's also about all these little leaguers that are playing softball and baseball and have a major league team in their town that they can go to and root for and be a part of, and what that does for a community. Yeah, you can measure it in dollars, but you can measure it in a lot more than just dollars.
The Fisher family has taken a lot. And what do you think this is going to mean for them when this building goes up and they open in 2028?
It's going to be a great moment for the family. They have taken a lot. They've taken a lot of unfair abuse. And when you get to know John and Laura and the rest of the family, they're just generous, caring, wonderful, authentic people. similar to my last employer, that they're not in it for the money. I think people make that mistake. They're doing this for the right reasons. They're doing this to create something special. What John and the design team have done in this building is really incredible. You've seen the renderings, but when it comes to life, people are really going to want to be here and be a part of it, and it's going to add to this incredible skyline and this location.
Well, I can't thank you enough what you've done for me. Obviously, we go back to the Raiders,
Yeah.
and now once again you're running the A's, the organization that I've covered, been around, and loved for many, many years. So I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for me for all the years from the NFL to Major League Baseball, and I truly appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. I love watching you on Gamecast and A's Cast, and thanks for the support. Enjoy the day. It's a proud day for the organization.
Enjoy, because this is a special day, one of many.
Thanks, Bart.
What do you mean?
Appreciate it.
Great
Have
to
a good
see
day.
you. The great Mark Bedane, president of the Athletics. And when you want to talk about one of the great A's of all time, he is an A's Hall of Famer. He's a 3-time World Series champion. He's a World Series MVP.
Stewart.
He is a pillar of this organization. Dave Stewart, it is great to see you. We're in Las Vegas. Can you believe it?
I can believe it, bro. It's hot here.
It's hot.
You're standing in this heat doing these interviews, man.
But you know what, though? It's a little sweat. It's not a big deal. Welcome to Vegas, right?
Oh, man, this is going to be part of it. Good thing is we've got a nice stadium that's being built with a roof over it. It's going to be nice.
Yeah, we talked about it when you got inducted to the A's Hall of Fame. Like, you'll live forever inside this Hall of Fame. And obviously, working with the organization, you'll be here through the whole process and then opening the building in 2028. Just how important is it, as someone who has been a part of the owner process now, you've seen the game at all levels, just to finally have a stadium you can call your own?
After everything that took place, obviously, in the Bay, and the uncertainty of where this team was going to end up and how it was going to end up, to finally be at this stage, to be positioned in this way, I think it's got to be a relief, obviously, for the Fisher family and for the fans that still remain with the A's. For me personally, I've had an opportunity to get a real idea of what the stadium is going to look like, how great it's going to be for the players. And then the fan experience, I think, is going to be absolutely outstanding. And so, I look at this as the first tease, because now that the ground is being broken, you're going to want to know just about every month. I remember when I was having my first house built, and, I wanted to be there.
Foundation,
Every day. I wanted to
concrete.
see every piece of it. And so, I got to think that this is going to be just as exciting.
Yeah, we're going to have cameras up and you're going to get to see it. Just talking to Mark Bedane, I can't stress this enough to everybody, that the reputation he built here and getting Allegiant Stadium done with the Raiders, every dignitary that you talked to said once Mark Bedane was brought on, what that meant. I don't know what your relationship was with him, but the new president, it was definitely a very key hire for this project.
Yeah, I don't know Mark. I've met him on a couple of occasions, but I can't say that I personally know him. Like anything, I've done my due diligence and really looked into who he is, especially since he's going to be leading this A's organization. And everybody has said, just as you did, it was like the Yankees bringing Reggie Jackson.
It's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Now, you were an agent at one point. Your wife's still an agent. Just how important will it be for players when you start looking at coming here and playing in Las Vegas?
Well, in comparison to Sacramento, Sacramento is going to be a hard place to attract players, to get free agent players to come to. This first year, though I think the experience of playing in Sacramento should be like it is in any ballpark. The opposition doesn't have any advantages and you don't have any advantages. You just have to hit the ball and you have to pitch and catch the ball. But, this is going to be a new facility. Without a doubt, it's going to be the best baseball stadium in baseball. And the fan experience is going to be unbelievable. I think that people in the city, let's not forget that you're in Las Vegas. I think that players are going to want to come here.
No doubt. The no state tax thing, I know that's something we really want to get into today, but the no state tax thing is going to play huge. What do you think it's going to be like when you walk into this beautiful stadium and you see your retired number up there?
You know, I don't mean this in a bad way. I'd much rather see it in Oakland. Yeah. But, you know, to have my number retired in any place, if this organization goes, you know, it goes from Oakland to Las Vegas. We remember that the A's started in Kansas. Well, they started in Philadelphia and went from Philadelphia to Kansas City. I was a youngster when they came to Oakland. And so, you know, to have my number retired is an honor. And the biggest honor, as I've said, even from day one, is that the guys that I'll be surrounded with and that I'm surrounding are all Hall of Famers. I'm not a Major League Baseball Hall of Famer, and so it's a tremendous honor.
think we need to rethink that. I think we're all starting to look at how, and so we've talked about, you know, let's stay away from you, but your good friend Bob Welch. Like we've looked at with certain guys going, I think we need to rethink this. Yeah. But when we start talking, I think we will talk about eras. We're going to talk because there's the championships and the great players and the Hall of Famers from Philadelphia. You can't forget Kansas City. We're certainly not going to forget Oakland. Then you're going to have this brief time in Sacramento and then now Las Vegas. I think we'll look at the A's players, but where you played in the era you played in, where the city was.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to. I wish it was that simple, Tommy. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just happy that I had the opportunity to play. I got to be honest. When I was a kid growing up in the Bay Area, sneaking into baseball games at the Coliseum. And having dreams of being a major league player. And then after achieving that, each year for me was, God, I just hope I get to play another year.
Well, you're one of the greats. And the fact that you're going to be with us for a long time, a part of this organization, and you'll be here when this building opens up in 2028. It's going to be spectacular. And the journey just continues. One of the greatest baseball lives of all time, the great Dave Stewart.
I'm telling you, I'm actually excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. I can't even imagine what it feels like, or what it feels like to the Fisher family to finally have this chapter done in their book. As I said, when I was building my home, I wanted to be there every day to see every big brick, every piece of stone, faucets.
When did you really enjoy, like, my home is built? When did you really finally enjoy it?
The day that I moved in was the best day. It was the best day of my life when I moved into my home, and I think that feeling's going to be the same here at this ballpark.
Go get in the AC, and we will see you up in Sacramento.
All right, Tony, thanks for having me.
The great Dave Stewart, A's Hall of Famer, joining us here on A's Cast Live. Freddie Wisniewski.
All right, so
why don't you just say it into the microphone? This is Delaire Lewars here.
Ironworkers Local 433, Freddie Wisniewski.
Good for Freddie.
Hey, Freddie, you're building the place.
He's built. Okay, cool. Now, I want to get to your comments. Jay Boogie is here! Woohoo, Jay! Jay says the A's ownership is just pathetic. They squatted on a lease for 10 years, making it impossible for the Raiders to build a stadium, even to maintain the complex. Then he says the A's signed a 10-year lease as the baseball team and let that stadium rot to hell. I can't stay in the A's ownership. Yeah, I have to say one thing. I disagree with you here. First of all, they didn't really squat. The main problem was that the JPA let all this play out. Okay, in other words, the Coliseum JPA is responsible for working on stadium refurbishments, upgrades, working with the organizations to make that happen. Neither the A's nor the Raiders own the stadium, which is the other problem. Okay, let's get that. Let's put that out front and center. That was the problem. The other problem was that we had a multi-purpose stadium, which came from the Pittsburgh Des Moines era of stadium design. We had this circle, and you had this V that could be moved. Okay, that was the essential geometric idea behind it. It was popular in the 60s, and it got us in the 70s. It got us Three River Stadium on top of the Coliseum, to name some of the other great facilities. Three River Stadium is no longer with us. So at any rate, the point is, that
sometime in December to do a little
doesn't do either one well. And you would say, Zinni, why is it necessary to have a football-only stadium? It's really necessary to have a sports-only stadium because of the owner of the team. Okay, the owners of the team need that money so that if a concert comes in with The Weeknd or with Kendrick Lamar, they get part of that money. Okay, and if a concert comes in or a show, any kind of event you can think of, rather than the prime tenant dealing only with its revenue from it, it gets everything. So it really doesn't matter that it's football only or baseball only. Well, that's important. It's single owner only. Okay, that's the real issue. And you say, why is that important? To pay the exorbitant player costs. That's why. That's what's that's what's been going on here. Okay, that's what's been going on here for quite some time in this entire process. And it's gonna get. It's just gonna go. Look. You have Shatani out there, right? 700 million, right? Folks, can you imagine paying someone 1.4 billion? That's going to happen at some point in my lifetime. I will not be surprised to see that. My question is, how do you pay for it? I have the answer. You have to build a sports city. The people have to be able to live there. Part of the rents and mortgages they pay, a percentage, has to go to the team. Imagine 4,000 people, 5,000, 10,000 people living there, 15,000 people. Hey, care to try for 20,000? All right, a true city within a city, a new town within town, right? Think about it, all right? And you would say, wait a minute, all that money goes to one player? You tell me what's to stop that from happening. I'm paying attention, okay? I don't see it. I'm not saying it's just going to just keep going up and up and up. It will have an endpoint. What that endpoint will look like, I don't quite know. I have to sit down and figure it out at some point, but it will get there. Okay, it will get there. So it's important to realize that. Okay, it will get there.
Remember the Mirage?
Okay?
The Mirage was first built.
So the main problem here, Jay Boogie, you're presenting this as if the Athletics were holding hostage to the Raiders, and really they weren't. Okay, in fact, the A's issue was just the opposite, and they were right. The Coliseum was designed for the Raiders to return. I repeat, the Coliseum was designed for the Raiders to return. The Coliseum, in its newest configuration,
happening in 2028 also.
wasn't designed for the Athletics.
There's a reason
All
why
right,
your phone
the Athletics
You're a busy guy.
were treated second-tier status by design, literally. By design. And they were right to be upset about it. Okay, as much as we were happy to have the Raiders back,
and I'm sure I'm going to be.
it was a problem. Okay, and that's why I said, hey, you know what? I said this to Oakland City Council in '96 that the A's are going to need a new ballpark. And Nate Miley, then Oakland City Council President, District 6, said, we just spent $200 million to get the Raiders back. You mean now I have to spend money for the A's? I said, yes, you do.
Newspaper here.
And we didn't.
You know, it's funny.
Okay.
Last time we had you on,
we didn't.
It was up
all right.
Near the Red Rock Hotel,
so,
right across from the ballpark, the Las Vegas ballpark, where our AAA team plays. We go back because.
This is funny. He's got all the all right. So my point. All right. So you're understanding that, right? Okay.
Raiders shows, right?
So
I did the Raiders Weekly show.
That's a very important thing to realize. It really is. It's quite important. Hold on a second, folks. I'm trying to work out something
here. Think about where we were then and where we are now for a groundbreaking now for a
it's very important.
Stadium. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, you know,
so
that was going to happen 5 years later.
Hold on.
This season's about to start with the Raiders. People are having those same doubts with this, right? You already see groundwork going on, big party inside there. So, you know, it's kind of a surreal moment to get the third or the fourth piece for you. Obviously, NBA might be coming, so that'll be the
Okay.
fourth one there. So kind of surreal.
All right. So let's hear
I'm
what
glad
Mitch
you
has
said
to say.
that because, and today is not a day to address. There's always going to be detractors, and I've got to deal with them a lot. Reality is the same noise, and I've tried to say this the same way how the Raiders left and got here is so eerily similar how the A's left and got here.
Yeah,
and
Oakland.
all the things that people said weren't going to happen here with the Raiders clearly happened with Allegiant Stadium. They're saying the exact same things about this project. It's like people don't learn.
Yeah, revisionist history, I guess. But hey, you looked at the Raiders when they came in; they were second to last in the league in valuation. People were calling Mark Davis a broke owner. How is he going to fund this thing? Now you look at it; they're in the top 10, and he's worth $2.5 billion now.
Yeah.
Similar things going to happen with A's, right? Value's going to go up. People are going to be interested in the team. Vegas is really interested in this. Obviously, sports is booming out here, so following a pretty similar path to the Raiders. Bringing in Mark Bedane obviously was a big piece of that. He's a key player in that. I think once he came on board, I think that made it more real. Even though some people still don't see it that way, but Mark Bedane has a great reputation out here getting things done, and he was the right guy to bring on.
It's so interesting because when he came here, Mark Bedane, he was an outsider, right? He was the Raiders. It was the Bay Area. Obviously, people remember Raiders in Los Angeles, but it was the Raiders coming from the Bay Area. Mark Bedane gets the building built, establishes a great establishes some unbelievable relationships here, has now a track record. And the people that they've put in front of me that I've been able to talk to, we're just talking to Bill Hornbuckle, who's the CEO of all MGM, who just said, when you brought Mark Bedane in, now they all knew this was for real. It's amazing how much Mark Bedane has established himself here in the desert, that once he came on, so many people were like, yep, this project is good.
Yeah, like I said, once he got in and people met him and he got, the stadium built, he made great connections with the whole business community. He's in all kinds of different organizations. He shows up, he was out at Red Rock doing the cleanup, helping people pick up, out there 30 miles outside of Vegas, our nice trails out there. So people see that he's more than just the business side. He's also in the community here. So that's a big factor here. So he has a great reputation, even like the staunchest of critics. And, like a Clark County Commission, Marilyn Kirkpatrick, she's known as like the hard one to kind of please out there, right? She was excited about Mark Bedane coming on with the A's and kind of made her more excited about the project as well.
Now, the one thing that, Vegas doesn't lack for much, but there was one thing Vegas lacked: summertime entertainment. Because when you think about the casinos, a lot of the big acts are not here in the summer. So it was the one thing in the portfolio, I guess you could say, that they didn't have was summertime entertainment. Now baseball will fill that void. Talk about what Major League Baseball and the A's will bring to Vegas in the summertime.
Yeah, like you mentioned, obviously Vegas, is a hot spot for tourism in the summer, so, but, it gets pretty hot out here, right? So a lot of the main things happen in the fall and spring and winter, right? So sometimes there's dead periods where, it's hard to get people out here. So this is going to be 81 games. You have those 3-game homestands, right? With all those fan bases and big players, right? So, it's going to fill that void where once the Knights ended their season and before NFL and the Knights kicked back off in the fall, there was that period where, maybe there's a show on the Strip, maybe there's something going on over there, but this is going to have, that built-in, fan thing here with bringing in people from all across the country and, the world even.
Well, and something that, we were just in Nashville 2 years ago for the winter meetings. And we went to the Titans-Colts game. And if you've ever been to Nashville, Broadway streets where everybody parties and all the country music, and it leads down, you cross the bridge, you go over to the stadium. And as we were there, we were down on Broadway. It was before the game. And we were having this conversation with baseball people because a lot of talking that's happened with the Raiders, too, about how many of the opposing teams' fans are coming in, which is, was part of the plan to help fill hotel rooms. Teams fans are coming in, which is, was part of the plan to help fill hotel rooms. But a group of Colts fans got out of vans and they were all fired up. It's Colts, Titans, it's Nashville, everybody's partying. And I said, you realize that both of these teams are not from here, that the Titans were the Houston Oilers and the Colts were not Indianapolis, they were Baltimore. And no one talks about that anymore. So, like, we're in the infancy of these moves, like the Raiders. Like, 20 years from now, you'll have all these kids who are being born and they're going to grow up Raiders fans in Las Vegas. And it'll be the same thing with the A's. Now, I'll be retired and gone, but people don't think about the long game. The long game is when you have these teams, we react in the moment how they affect us now. But 30, 40 years from now, this community will only know them as teams that have been here, and we won't even really think that much about the past. Just like when I was at that football game, Titans Colts National Football League, they were talking about, hey, this team used to be in Houston, this team used to be in Baltimore. You just don't think, we don't think about, the Lakers used to be in Minnesota. No one thinks about that stuff anymore.
Right, it takes some time. Obviously, they build a fan base. You see more and more Raiders fans, ever since they announced they were coming here. Same thing with the A's. How these last 4 years have kind of played out. I've seen tons more A's hats and jerseys popping up around the city. So that's already kind of started. They've already sponsored, every single Little League's jerseys and bought their uniforms. So they're in the community now. So they're already kind of getting their footprint in even before they play a game here, right? So
there's something wrong with their sound there.
It takes some time.
So while they're
5 years,
talking,
maybe 10, but it's
I'll
steadily
talk.
growing. And they've kind of got the early part of that going now.
Yeah, we know people are going to come from all over to want to see games. I mean, that's going to be very
so
obvious.
they're doing that.
Yeah, the fan base will.
We're doing this.
Tell you where we were eating last
That's
night.
Mitch Akers. He writes for the Las Vegas Review Journal. So I just wanted to let you know that. Okay. So anyway.
All right, they're about to get going inside. But hey, obviously, after this, we want to have you on A's Cast Live to kind of recap this event. I know you got to go in and cover it, but we're going to be doing just like I did years ago with the Raiders. We're going to be doing a lot with you with the A's. You're the best at it here in the desert. We appreciate everything that you do and your coverage, and we look forward to having you a lot on A's Cast Live.
Appreciate it. Anytime.
That's going to do it from the green carpet. Coming up next, we're going to have the groundbreaking of the new stadium. This is going to be a historic day leading to one of the great venues in all the sports, the new ballpark in 2028. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We're going to be back on Tuesday when the Athletics are in Detroit.
All right, folks. So there that is. And this live stream doesn't go away, but we do shift venues. And it's hot out there. Hey, Google, what's the temperature in Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas, it's currently 80 degrees.
Huh. Heck is this? All right. We can't hear them. Not sure what was going on with that. But I'll keep talking while they talk. And I'll put this here and then I'll put this back here. And so so that's not, what's going on is it's frozen, folks, because it's what happens when I go screen to screen. And it should, let me see here. Let me try this. Yeah. So at any rate, that'll be like that for a bit. I want to talk about something that people should understand, and that's what happened with Howard Terminal. What happened with Howard Terminal was that the city had established the Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District. Here's the setup, folks. Here's the setup. It's got the diamond, the construction in back. I want to see it. I want to see cobble. I'll get to that in a second. But what happened with Howard Terminal was that the city didn't have an experienced point person to handle the work of marshaling all the people together. They hired Molly Mabron. The day they actually did it was a woman named Betsy Lake, who is the current one of the assistant city administrators for the City of Oakland, and her experience is not in sports development or development at all. It's contracts, but she hired Molly, who was a friend of hers, who has a real estate background but has no background in economic development, no knowledge of redevelopment at all. And that showed. Her first presentation on July 20th was of 2021 was awful. It was completely awful. And she was in Hawaii. First of all, how do I know that? Because she told everybody. She was in Hawaii on vacation. She brought her kids, and rather than go to one of those business offices in the hotel, which they have, she decided to do her presentation from a hotel room. And oh, that's what she did. Now, she's not a vlogger, right? She's she's not a person who's just out there winging it, but she actually did look like that. She did not have a command of the material that she was working on. It gave a loud and clear, and I mean loud and clear, signal that the project was on the wrong track. It really did. It was sad, to say the least. It was sad. And why she did that and why the city allowed her to do that was because you had a bunch of people from the mayor on down who not only didn't know how to do the business of economic development, they didn't know at all. They didn't know or understand how to at all. They didn't understand how to ask for help. Okay, let me enlarge this, by the way. I want to make sure that I'm enlarging this so that you can see that. Okay, all right. The J Boogie says, I hear you, I really do, but Libby picked baseball over football. She was more politically inclined with Fisher than Davis, which is a mistake. Oakland is a football town. You know, I have to say, I have to agree with you there, all right? But again, yeah, you know that's I have to agree with you as far as that is concerned. Libby, but to one extent though. Mark Bedane, Mark Bedane was with the Raiders and president, had an outstanding relationship with Libby as mayor. And her parents, my godparents, Libby's parents are my godparents. My godmother, Barbara Schaff, passed away a month ago. Libby's parents had a great relationship with him. So it wasn't like they weren't, they didn't have a relationship that was kind of like family and could talk about things or at the time. Okay. So it wasn't really, as you put it, Jay Boogie, it wasn't, well, Libby favors the A's and hates the Raiders. No, no, not at all. Was there more of an affinity? Sure. Did that come into how she related to the A's versus the Raiders? No, because he made mistakes in both camps. I can't go there. The simple fact, I told Libby, the simple fact that she let herself be the project manager was the problem. In both cases. All right, you always have a point person. We did that in the past. When the Raiders were brought back, to Oakland, it was Ezra Rapport, then the assistant city manager, the point person for the project. But this time, no, Libby made herself the face of the project. And I instructed her about the dangers of doing that. Because if it doesn't work, you wear that. Okay? You wear that. If it goes south, you wear that. Okay? You wear that. And that's what happened. Uh-oh. I just got a text from Libby. Hold on. Although it's not about this. And so then Jay Boogie says, another thing that bothers me, all these field of schemers and all this creates anti-business culture. No, they don't. Here's my point about them. Okay, the people that you list, all right, have nothing to do with Oakland. They don't live in Oakland. They've never been to Oakland, and I can walk down the street, and I would bet you that most people wouldn't know who the people are you're talking about. They're more inclined to know me because I focus on Oakland a ton of time, all the time. So, all right, but they don't know them. They had no impact on Oakland. That's from the point of view of people who, follow this online exclusively and are not in the area. And you can't help it, okay? You can't help it. But those folks have no impact on the reality of the project at all. None. No impact whatsoever. Okay? None. And so they're late getting started. It is now 9:02 there. 12:02. They've frozen this. So whatever's going on, let me refresh this to make sure. Let me see something here. Okay, I've refreshed it. And all right. It's live. Turn the volume up. Oh, I don't want the music though. Don't want the music. I got a second of that and I turned it down. Okay, that's why. And so anyway, so yeah, they don't have any. But here's my point though. Having said all that, Sir Chai, they do have. You're right. They don't have any idea how economic development works. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about people that are essentially my competitors in media. Here we are. What's this? I think we're getting going. Okay, hold on a second. What is this?
We will be opening an incredible visionary stadium right on the Las Vegas Strip.
Congratulations to the A's. Congratulations to Las Vegas.
How we doing, everybody? Let's try that again. How we doing, everybody? That's the sound I like to hear. I want to thank you guys for coming out today. I know you've got a lot of stuff on your schedule here. We appreciate you. We greatly appreciate you carving out the time to come and enjoy this incredible occasion for us. For those of you folks who don't know me, who might not be watching A's baseball, which we're going to change by the end of this, I promise you that. My name is Dallas Braden. I'm the broadcaster for the Athletics, and I'm somebody who has got to live a very fortunate life, a very fortunate path here. I was the little fella who got to grow up cheering for the green and gold. I was the little fella who got to grow up and play for the green and gold. And now I'm the much older fella who gets to talk about the green and gold and what they have done on the baseball field. So I, just like many of you, very excited for a day just like today. And when this day started to pop up on the schedule, a lot of emotion started to pop up as well for myself. And I'll tell you a couple of quick stories. We have ties here to Las Vegas. My two uncles were actually fortunate enough to take the honor of building one of the first two pirate ships for Treasure Island when that place first popped up. And I know I might look like I belong on one of those pirate ships. I know what you're thinking. But from there, they'd pack up their tool bags and head to New York. Well, New York, if you will, because they built the roller coaster too. And when they needed somebody to figure out whether or not it worked, they were looking for a couple crash test dummies. And my two uncles, hands up in the air, said, "We built it, we trust it, we'll be your dummies, no problem." So when Las Vegas started to become a reality, as I said, there was a lot of emotion, not only for myself, but for my family and for a lot of folks involved. And as I said, it's an honor to be here today. This morning, we're going to be hearing from several individuals who have been instrumental in today's event and bringing the A's to Las Vegas. So before we get started, I'm very pleased to welcome a number of honored guests here today, including representatives from the Nevada Federal Delegation, the state constitutional officers, the Nevada Legislature, Clark County Commission, the City of Las Vegas, City of Henderson, City of North Las Vegas. We've got Boulder City in the house, City of Mesa, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, as well as the Las Vegas Stadium and Authority Board. We also have some esteemed colleagues of mine in the building. A man I was able to call a former teammate, and a man that has done so much already for this organization. The manager of the Athletics, Mark Kotze, is in the house. I'm sure many of you have been able to set eyes upon this individual, and I promise you those eyes have been staring back at you as well. Three-time World Series champ. We've got a World Series MVP in the house, Dave Stewart, in the building as well. Newly minted A's Hall of Famer. We've also got another jacket wearer in the building, the best mustache the game has ever known. Another World Series MVP, and he's got 3 of them rings as well. None other than the great Hall of Famer, Raleigh Fingers. Now, I do just want to remind folks, our game has encountered some changes here, and I think as a broadcaster and maybe for some fans, one of the greatest changes that our esteemed commissioners came up with is the pitch clock, the pitch timer. So I'm going to remind you, speakers, get it going, get engaged. We got a schedule to keep, so dig in the box and be ready to hit. Pick out a pitch and swing. So right now what I'd like to do is welcome to the stage Mr. Steve Hill, the CEO and president of the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority.
Now that's a beard to aspire to, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know we're here to celebrate a groundbreaking, but it just so happens that yesterday was the birthday of 2 people who are going to have an awful lot to do with the success of this stadium. So if I'm not going to sing, but if you would join me in a round of applause for Brian Yost, who is our chief of sports at the LVCVA, and Mark Bedane, who is with the Raiders. Both celebrated their birthday yesterday.
He said Mark Badane's of the Raiders, Mark Badane's of the A's.
Speaking to me now.
Poor Steve.
This is a great day for Las Vegas. The opportunity to welcome Major League Baseball to our city, to welcome the A's to our city, will go down in history. Will be a part of our skyline. Will be a part of us for decades and decades. We are exceptionally honored and excited to be here. I'm honored to be a part of this. Las Vegas knows how to come together and make things happen like no other city in the world. We are the sports capital, the entertainment capital, the meeting capital of the world. Because this community knows how to come together.
Take
like
a lesson,
no other,
Oakland.
and
Take a
make
lesson.
Great ideas, make great things happen. We remove obstacles. We allow great ideas from the entrepreneurs who have them to move forward. And today is a celebration of that. I want to thank all that have been a part of making today happen throughout this community, our state leadership, our local leadership, so many people who have to come together to make a project like this real. I want to give thanks to all of you. How about a round of applause for what Las Vegas is able to do? Commissioner, I want to thank you and all of the owners of Major League Baseball for the trust that you have shown in our community. Please convey that to all of them. We're going to be thrilled to welcome them all to town. It's going to be a fantastic place for their teams to play, their fans to come and visit Las Vegas. It's all a part of what makes this stadium so great. And John, I want to thank you, your family, the entire A's team for your trust, your commitment, for following through on everything that you have said. We've still got some work to do, but it's going to be an awful lot of fun to see what is going to be such an iconic ballpark built on this parcel. So thank you. Tell your family thanks for us, and certainly the entire A's team. We look forward to welcoming you in 2028. We're on the site of a parcel that has meant so much to Las Vegas. This has been a place that has welcomed dreamers and entrepreneurs and made people stars. And we are going to do that again on this site. This is an iconic location. This is going to be an epic ballpark. And there's going to be no better place in the United States to watch Major League Baseball. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for making it happen. And it's my honor to announce and bring to the stage two of the real stars of our program today, Cy and Sierra with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Welcome.
Tippy toes here. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sierra. I am here with the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Nevada. We are so honored to be here and be able to present to you that you are here at the groundbreaking of the future home of the Athletics. We're so excited to bring the Athletics here to Las Vegas, in our hometown, and in the town that Make-A-Wish made our wishes come true. When it comes to going through what we went through with our medical journeys, Make-A-Wish Nevada brings light at the end of the day, brings light at the end of the tunnel for us. After we go through our treatments, our surgeries, it's the light at the end of the tunnel. And we're so excited to have a new community come into Las Vegas and be a part of this beautiful community that we've created and that helps wishes come true for Make-A-Wish kids like myself and Cy here. And I'd just like to introduce you to Cy.
All right, thank you, Sierra. Good morning, everyone. I'm Wish Kid Cy, and I'm very excited and honored to be here today to celebrate this huge milestone with the A's and to represent Make-A-Wish Nevada. For many Wish kids, meeting their favorite athlete or being on their favorite team for just one day can be a truly magical experience for them, and it gives them tons of hope in their darkest days. And so many other kids get through tough times because no matter what, if we had surgeries or treatments coming up, we always knew that we had our wish to look forward to. Since receiving my wish, me and Sierra have been involved in the Make-A-Wish community even more. We became Make-A-Wish ambassadors, helping grant wishes for kids with critical illnesses, which is one of the best things and one of our favorite things that we do together. It's an honor to be here today. And I'm so happy that the A's are moving to Las Vegas, to our community, the place we call our home. Just thank you to all the A's and Make-A-Wish Nevada. I'd like to introduce John Fisher.
Hey, John.
Wow, they're a hard act to follow. Thank you, Cy. Thank you, Sierra. You know, these projects, they probably look like they happen pretty quickly, but the reality is incredible amount of work and time and effort and so many people's involvement to even bring us to today. And 3 years from now, you know, you'll see the fruits of all of that labor when in 2028 we have opening day out here on the Las Vegas Strip. It's an epic moment for our 124-year-old franchise.
But it wouldn't be right unless I could thank a number of the people for whom, without their involvement, we absolutely would not be here today. First, I'd like to thank my partner, Sandy Dean, who many of you know, who's been tirelessly working on this for, the last 20 years with me. And I also want to thank Mark Bedane. Incredibly fortunate to have Mark now leading our organization. And Mark, thank you for everything. When I had the opportunity to, walk the halls of the Capitol in Carson City and visit with so many politicians, government officials there, and walk into their offices and see, pictures of the Detroit Tigers, in the case of my friend Steve Yeager, and see, go into Nicole Canizara's room or office and have her show me a picture of her wedding cake, which had her team on one side of the cake and her husband's team on the other. I really got a sense that, baseball is something that Nevadans love. And that gave me, tremendous confidence in thinking about what the future for us could be here in Las Vegas. And, I want to just give special thanks to the governor, Joe Lombardo, who was, absolutely unwavering in his support. In one of our fairly early meetings, we went into we sat down, we talked about what we were going to try and be able to achieve here. We shook hands, and that was really all it took. He then went to work and helped make this happen. So to you, Governor, thank you.
Hey, folks, that's the way it's supposed to work. In every place. There's the lesson.
Also incredibly important to this effort was Jim Gibson. Jim, at the time, was the head of the Clark County Commissioner's Office, and looked at me and said, "Hey, I love baseball. I know that this is great for Las Vegas. We're going to make this happen." Jim, thank you. And Steve Hill and his team at the LVCVA have just been incredible supporters. Steve is not always the easiest. We would meet with him in his office, and he looked us in the eye and said, "Are you really going to do this?" And and he described exactly where we were going to end up today. And he has been an incredible man of his word and incredibly consistent and strong supporter of what we've been able to achieve today. So thank you, Steve. To my friends and my family, who are over there, who've had to, I don't want to use the word suffer, because suffer is negative. What's the positive? Enjoyed the process that we've been through to get us where we are today. Thank you. I love you guys. And I absolutely would positively not be here today if it wasn't for my great partner, Lou Wolf. Lou's here from LA, and Lou brought me into the A's in 2005, and we've been incredible partners ever since. He's here with his son Keith, who's been very much an important advisor in how we've created this ballpark behind us, or that we're on, actually. So thank you guys very much for being here. There are going to be thousands of people on this site in short order, and none of that would have happened without the strong support of the union. So Buildings and Trades, Culinary, Unite, so many of you guys who are here today, thank you so much for making this all possible. Thank you to UMB. This site is part of a much larger project The project is going to have a tremendous Bally's resort on it. And so I just want to give our special thanks to Soo Kim, who's not here today. Unfortunately, he's traveling, and his team at Bally's, to Brandon Moore, who is here today. Thank you, Brandon. And to his boss, Peter Carlino, and GLPI. Thanks for believing in us from the very beginning and making this happen. I don't want to get too emotional here when I talk about the commissioner of baseball, but when I sat down with the commissioner and he said, "Hey, we're going to make this happen," he never wavered. And it's not always an easy job to be the commissioner of 30 owners, all of whom want something special on any given day. But to Commissioner Manfred, who looked at what we were building here and knew that this was the right thing for baseball, and then set about making sure that all 30 owners, or all 29, he knew he had my vote, that all 29 were going to support this. Thank you, Rob. I don't know if you guys know, but we lost one of the greatest Oakland athletics ball players to ever play, and that was Ricky Henderson.
Ricky Henderson.
And Ricky was here just a short time ago when we had the implosion on this site. Sat in the back behind 500 people watching that event, totally unassuming. No one knew who he was. But those people that understood baseball and recognized him, knew that they were in the presence of genius and really greatness. And so, we've dedicated this season, but I think we can think that we're really dedicating, so much about where we are today to our great Ricky Henderson. So we miss him. Okay, I'm getting to the end here. So Dallas, don't come up and get me off just yet. But you guys may not know that 15 short years ago, in 2010, May 17th, May 9th, close enough. The A's had one of the great pitching efforts of all time, with Dallas Braden on the mound throwing a perfect game on Mother's Day. And so when he talks pretty humbly about, his uncles being crash dummies, he never sings his own praises enough. And he's one of the great players who ever wore an athletics uniform. So thank you. All right, which leads me into, the person I'm here to introduce, and that is somebody that we hope will be the next Dallas Braden pitching for the A's, and that's Wyatt Erickson. Now, when I was here for the implosion, I talked about how, Wyatt is a Henderson Little Leaguer, and I talked about how at the end of the day, baseball is a kid's sport, and we enjoy it. From when we're little kids to being little leaguers to being in high school and college. Recently baseball made an investment in the softball league, and so we're incredibly excited about that opportunity as well. But the Aviators out here in Summerlin are a AAA affiliate. It's something that we hope fans from the youngest of age to the oldest will enjoy for their lifetimes. It is a game to enjoy for your life. So I'm really excited. We reached out to Wyatt, or to his parents, I guess I should say, and they were going to be in St. Louis. And so to his parents, I want to say thank you guys for flying back from St. Louis for this event. It means the world to the A's. And on that, I'd like to introduce the great Little League player from Henderson, Wyatt Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. I'm honored for the opportunity to represent Little League and youth baseball players from Nevada. Last summer, I had the privilege of playing baseball with an incredible group of teammates and coaches with the Paseo Verde Little League on our journey to the Little League World Series. It was an amazing experience that created memories that will last a lifetime. One of my most memorable moments came during the championship game of the Little League Regional Tournament. With the help of a strong defense behind me, I was able to throw a no-hitter to send our team to the World Series. I want to take a moment to tell the A's organization how much I appreciate their support of Little League in Nevada as well as our team last summer. The A's helped with some of the expenses for our families to travel with us to Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Thank you. I've been playing baseball since I was 4 years old and haven't stopped since. In fact, I will be leaving later this afternoon to rejoin my team in St. Louis to finish up a tournament. My goal has always been to play baseball in college and ultimately work hard enough to make it to the MLB. I will get to work on this goal next year in 8th grade at Masonary Tom's Baseball Academy, where I'll be able to focus on schoolwork and developing skills to become a great player. Baseball in this city continues to grow. I can't wait for the A's to come to Las Vegas and become part of this community. Thank you for inviting me to come to this groundbreaking ceremony. One day with hard work, I hope to be back in this location playing in this stadium. And now, please help me welcome the Commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred.
All right, Dallas, I am the pitch clock guy. Where are you? I'm going to get you back on track here. Look, I could not be more excited to be here in Las Vegas today. Las Vegas has proven itself to be a great sports town and a great host to professional franchises. All of us at Major League Baseball, all the owners, are excited to be adding Major League Baseball to the entertainment alternatives that are available here in Southern Nevada. The Athletics have a long and proud history. 9 World Series titles, great players like Rickey Henderson, Dave Stewart, Raleigh Fingers, Vida Blue, list goes on and on. I think about today as the beginning of a new chapter in that great history. John Fisher, Sandy Dean, Mark, the entire A's team are going to build Las Vegas an unbelievable, awesome, iconic ballpark. And I'm sure some of you are already watching. The A's have put together one of the most talented young rosters in Major League Baseball as they begin to build towards 2028. Players like Jacob Wilson, Brent Rooker, Lawrence Butler should help bring not only a baseball team, but a winner to here in Las Vegas. You know, when you have 30 teams, you get a chance to work with governments around the United States. And those of you who live here in Nevada should take great comfort in the efficiency and effectiveness of your elected officials. And trust me, we would not be here today were it not for some of the hard work that went into making this a reality. At the top of the list is obviously Governor Lombardo, unwavering in his support for bringing baseball to Nevada. Congresswoman Dina Titus, another supporter of our efforts here. I was laughing with Steve Yeager back in green room there, we'd never actually met, but there was a period of time where we spent a lot of time on the phone together, absolutely crucial to getting the necessary legislation done. Commissioner Jim Gibson, another huge supporter of baseball from day one, and of course Steve Hill. They did a great job in terms of bringing this to fruition. I'm sure between now and 2028, I'm going to be back here in Las Vegas, but I'll tell you one thing absolutely for certain. I will be here opening day 2028 to celebrate with John Fisher, his entire team, and I hope the entire state of Nevada. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tessa Rosenstein, and I would like to start by saying a special thank you to Commissioner Manfred. I was so excited to see the announcement that Major League Baseball would be investing in women's professional softball. So, thank you for supporting female athletes like me. I am a lifelong Nevadan and a diehard baseball fan. I started playing softball in 5th grade, and this fall I will be playing on the varsity softball team at the Meadows School. I am also a proud member of Henderson Girls Softball Association. Across our valley, baseball fans like me have never had a hometown team to root for, so the A's coming here is like a dream come true. So today, I would like to thank everyone here today that is helping make that dream come true, including our next speaker. So please join us in welcoming our governor, the Honorable Joe Lombardo.
All right, good morning, everybody. I got my little anxiety ball here. So, well, you know, I don't want to repeat a lot of what the previous speaker spoke of, but I think it's important for people to realize, especially the crowd here today, it's amazing when things actually get consummated, how many people show up. It was interesting when me and Mr. Fisher, John, had the opportunity to meet each other, 2.5 years ago, John? And he described the meeting, but he left one person that was in the meeting out of the announcements, and it's a person that's very special to me. And I actually consider her a mentor, and that's Marilyn Kirkpatrick. Marilyn, are you here? Where's she at? Oh, she's over there. So prior to the meeting coming together, I called Marilyn. I said, Marilyn, is this a good idea or not? And we walked through the nuances and everything associated with the government process. And I said, you know, you're going to have a lot of naysayers as a result of our current society and how we deal with things on social media and you know, the people that opine from their couch in their mother's basement. But we came together. We had Sandy was there. Sandy, thank you for being there. And we had a really robust conversation on how we were going to get there. And John is correct. He stuck out his hand at the end of all the sidebars and everything else that took place and says, we're going to get this done. And I appreciate your support. And I said, well, you have my 100% support. And we left from that point, and then we had a couple conversations as we entered a legislative session. As you know, for something of this magnitude, it requires legislation to get it across the finish line. And subsequently, we had very terse conversations, myself and Steve Yeager. Very terse. And I'm happy to say that because that's how government works, right? You got to have a consternation, you got to have discourse, and then hopefully, eventually, you have consensus. And then sine die happened. And that was the end of the legislature, and we had not had the A's discussion, to the disappointment of myself and many people associated with all the work. So subsequently, I called a special session. Steve yelled at me for about an hour.
Good.
No, I'm just joking, Steve. Don't, the press is here. You can write that if you want. I don't care. But no, we had a really hard discussions. And as you can imagine, when you're whipping the votes and determining whether this is going to make it past the finish line, there was some sleepless nights. And eventually we got the vote to take place, and it passed. And who called me within 2 minutes of the vote taking place? Mr. Fisher. And thanked me for all the hard work, and I promised him that we will continue to move the ball down the, I can't say down the field, I say around the circle, around the diamond, and we're gonna get this to the finish line. So now all the hard work starts, right? So then I started making phone calls, is this gonna happen? And John talked about Mr. Carlino. I had numerous conversations with him. I had numerous conversations with John, numerous conversations with Sandy, and I had numerous conversations with two other individuals in this audience, and they deserve recognition, and that's Tony and Anthony Marnell. Are they here? Over there. Let me tell you something, folks. If you're going to get something done in the state of Nevada, those are the two individuals you need to talk to, because they understand all the hurdles associated with something of this magnitude and what exactly is going to make it a success. And so I reached out to Anthony, a good friend of mine, and I tried to stay away from Tony. He makes me nervous. But they asked the hard questions, in which I presented to everybody involved, and here we are today. Today, this is the culmination of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, and vision for us to have success here in the state of Nevada. When I was approached by the media, when I came in here earlier today, they said, well, what does this mean to you? And you would think immediately the words out of my mouth would be sports, sports, sports. And it isn't. To me, it's economic drivers. It's jobs. It's the ability to be the true entertainment capital of the world and drive everything home in what we envisioned and what John and I envisioned in having success in this. So here we are today. The conversations still continue, but I anticipate that the pile drivers behind me are going to be hitting the ground sometime this evening. And in 2028, we're going to be throwing a pitch across that plate. And so I asked Raleigh, Mr. Fingers, was the plate always that big? Is that why you had such a good record? So, before I leave the podium, I want to make sure that I recognize the A's organization, because day one, we quite often are in fear of corporate giants coming into your space and not participating to what the community needs or what the community concerns or the community momentum. And the A's have done monumental investment in Little League Baseball and girls softball here locally. And they're going to continue to do that as a promise from Mr. Fisher to myself. And I think they understand, they realize the importance of that. So with that said, I think it's important I recognize one more person. And I want to embarrass him. Mark Bedane, can you stand up? So you assume I was going to recognize him for all his hard work and his assistance, but I got to recognize him for that suit he's wearing. So I asked him if Mr. Fisher forces him to wear that thing, and he said no, he was proud to wear it. So it's good, all good, all good. So one thing's going to happen in 2028, and it's going to be the first pitch, right? So thank you, Leuna, for giving me a ball to work with here. And, So I don't know if it's the commissioner of baseball or the owner of the A's that has the authority to allow me to throw the first pitch, but I will be working my arm for the next 3 years. All right? Hey, oh, see, he gave me a promise. Everybody saw it. All right. Now it's my honor to bring Cy and Sierra back up to the stage. And before I let them have at it, everybody on behalf of myself, the state of Nevada, God bless you and God bless the state of Nevada.
Thank you, Governor Lombardo. We appreciate you, and we appreciate your your support for Make-A-Wish Nevada.
Some of you may or may not know this, but Mr. Lombardo used to be on the board for Make-A-Wish, what used to be Make-A-Wish Southern Nevada and is now Make-A-Wish Nevada. So big thank you to Mr. Lombardo once again. We cannot be more grateful than where we are standing today. I just want to give a big thanks to our moms who are in the crowd. They deserve a big round of applause. And the people that they've raised, the women that they are and they raised us to be. And another woman that I would like to thank, and I have the utmost gratitude and pleasure introducing, is Ms. Congresswoman Dina Titus.
Well, thank you so much. What a pleasure it is to be here. Commissioner, welcome. Mr. Fisher, Governor, don't make fun of my outfit now. You can make fun of theirs, but don't make fun of mine. This is quite an exciting day, and I want to welcome all of you and the A's to the heart of District 1. You know, we have been the entertainment capital for many years, and now we really are the sports capital. Just in this small area right here in the heart of my district, you've got the Raiders and the Aces and the Knights and wrestling and the race. And now the icing on the cake is going to be the A's. So welcome to Las Vegas. Las Vegas
And then get
Athletics.
basketball
Doesn't that
next.
sound good? And you have the best seat in the house right behind home plate. You know, not only is this going to be exciting for the sports world, but as Steve Hill mentioned, for the economy of Southern Nevada. It's been sports that has helped us come back after COVID, bringing back new visitors, new tourists, people who come for sports, not just for the other things Las Vegas has to offer. And so not only will you be baseball games during the season, but you've created thousands of good union jobs to build this stadium and to work here after the season starts. And also you'll be hosting other kinds of events here in the park, which will go on throughout the year and keep things happening right here at home. So thank you for all of that. You've heard what a storied history the A's have. Over 120 years, they've been wandering around in the desert looking for Las Vegas to be their permanent home. So we're glad you found it, and we're glad you're going to stay. We have Mr. Fingers. I always wonder if that was his real name or it was just a nickname because of the way he played. Thank you for being here too. But some of the other names, you heard about Ricky Henderson and what a player he was, known everywhere beyond his team. Reggie Jackson, you had Connie Mack, Charlie Finley. Let's don't forget the Bash Brothers. Y'all know who the Bash Brothers are. And the movie Moneyball that was made about the A's. So you have quite a place in history, and we know you'll be making more of it in the years to come as you play here in Las Vegas. It's a pleasure to represent all of you. The 700,000 people in District 1 are extremely excited. They want to be here for that first pitch, Governor. And I always remember, and I have to tell myself this a lot as I deal with Washington, there's no crying in baseball. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am Steve Yeager. I serve as the Speaker of the Nevada Assembly. No relation to the Hall of Fame catcher, but if you could let him know to get a social media account, that would help lessen the number of times I'm tagged in posts of people thinking that I am actually a former World Series MVP. So that's my ask of you. I want to thank all of you for being here today. You just heard from some of our local kids who, by the way, were amazing. We had little leaguers, softball players, and that is what really brings home to me what this is all about. When the legislation to make this stadium was a reality, this stadium reality was before my legislative colleagues and I back in 2023. You heard Governor Lombardo mention it took some real effort to get everyone to see what this could mean. What this could mean for our state, for our community, and for our kids and family. But through the many conversations I had with the A's organization, it became clear to me that there was a serious commitment to building a world-class stadium and to becoming a part of the very fabric of the Nevada community. And that is why I couldn't be more honored to be standing right in front of home plate, and I look forward to being here to see Governor Lombardo's first pitch, and I hope it's better than Treasurer Conine's first pitch at the Aviators game I saw a while back, because that was bad. So look up the video if you haven't seen it. So nobody can deny the incredible impact of professional sports and sports facilities coming to Nevada, which also adds a home team for locals, a favorite destination for visitors to see their team play, and facilities that can also serve as venues for other meetings, events, concerts, and the like. It has already been said today, but we truly are the sports and entertainment capital of the world, and this stadium will be yet another validation of that. Now, I have been a baseball fan as long as I can remember. I recall meeting Kirby Puckett at a bowling alley in Minnesota when I was just a kid. When we moved to Michigan, I became, and still am, a huge Detroit Tigers fan. I have some family from the Detroit area in the back, so they're representing the Tigers here today. And then when my legal career took me to Arizona, I became a loyal Diamondbacks fan, attending dozens of games. I will still root for the Tigers. I have to, or my mom will let me back in the state. But I have already become an A's fan too, and I'm proud to maintain that dual loyalty and cheer for the success of the A's all the way to a World Series championship. So I want to say thank you to the A's organization and everyone in this room who has worked tirelessly over not just the last couple of years, but the last couple of decades to bring us to this amazing moment. I really appreciate it. And now, if you would please help me welcome Clark County Commissioner and Chairman of the Board of the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, Commissioner Jim Gibson.
Boy, am I excited to be here today. What an incredible experience. And thank you, Steve, for the introduction. I first spoke to Commissioner Manfred years ago, it seems like. In fact, I met with the A's at the Mob Museum. We're trying to keep it a secret. And so we had this meeting at the Mob Museum, and we actually got the commissioner on the phone, and we talked a lot about the state and the things that would have to be done there, and the county, and selections of the site. In fact, we heard a lot. Some of you may have been aware of some of the things that were happening in terms of site selection. Nothing could be better than putting this iconic structure on the most famous street in the entire world, the Las Vegas Strip. You know, it wasn't that many years ago, all of us, even these young people who've been up here, are old enough to remember when there were no professional sports in Las Vegas. They would come, they would play a game or two, and then leave. The transformation that has happened has been significant. It is something that has affected everyone's life that lives in this valley. And you know that the reality is something that has been all that was promised and more. Well, I want to salute John Fisher and his entire team. One guy that isn't here that I spent a lot of time with is Dave Cavill, but Mark and Sandy, an incredible group of people, and you really can. We've heard that you can take their word to the bank. Now, we all are looking for a championship team. That's why people are talking about the World Series already, John, and it's 3 years before the first pitch will be thrown. But the reality is this group knows how to put a championship, a playoff team on the field. They know how to do it. And I encourage all of us to watch carefully as they add piece after piece. Am I creating pressure on you? Piece after piece after piece to something, the fabric of which will win our hearts, all of us. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that my colleagues on the Clark County Commission are here today, and I want to thank them for the great work that they do generally, but the support that they've shown as we've moved this project forward. Congratulations. Congratulations to all of us. Thank you.
I thank everybody that's shared their thoughts. Right now, what I'd like to do is bring up the heartbeat to our game. The game starts with these little boys and girls. This is where dreams start to form. This is where the reality of dreams will be realized right behind us here.
No black kids.
You guys ready to have some fun? Yeah. They got some baseballs in their hand.
We got no black kids.
They're not hard.
Come on, man.
Maybe
Get
they
some black
are.
kids up there.
But what I need y'all to do is stand up right now and get out of your chairs. And I'll remind you that we're not done after this, but this tends to happen at a ball game. You've been there. Typically, they tell you beer sales are ending right about now, but we're not even to noon yet, folks, so hold on. We'll have a good time a little later. But right now, time to limber up, and we're going to get the 7th inning stretch going, and our Little Leaguers are going to show us how it's done. Cue the music. Sling it, lefty. That way. Great job, guys. Great job. Great job. You guys can head on down there. Had a baby. I sure do. We got any black eyes out there? Everybody okay? Coming in hot. I know we've got some front office members here in attendance today. For you Little Leaguers, don't be surprised if you are taken aside and asked to throw just a light bullpen, maybe go through some calisthenics. We're just going to take a check of some measurables and see where you're at. You know, David Forrest has probably brought his radar gun. At this time, what I'd like to do is invite the speakers up today, because obviously we have a big celebration here, a big moment that we are all bringing to the forefront. I'd also like to invite Mark Bedane up as well. I think we've all thought about when this moment becomes reality. Well, it's real when you've got shovels in the dirt. So without further ado,
No Dave Cobble. Wow.
All right, folks, help me count it down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, I just want to thank everybody for coming out. We truly appreciate your time. We appreciate your presence. I'm going to turn it over now to our in-house PA announcer, Amelia Schimmel, and she's going to steer the ship from here on out. Again, thank you guys, and we hope to see you at the ballpark in 2028.
All right, thank you, Dallas. My name's Amelia Schimmel, the public address announcer. Normally, I say players' names, but today I'm going to give you the groups that are going to get an opportunity to take some photos. We're going to go in order, so just listen up for your name. We're going to start with the LVCVA group. Yes.
Okay, folks, so that's it. People are getting up, moving around.
If you're in the LVCVA, kindly come start to assemble. You'll be next after this group that's going now.
LVCVA. Let's talk about what we just saw here, folks, okay? First of all, let's have a discussion here. First of all, I have to say again, congratulations to the Athletics, and thank you to my friend Kathleen Aker, who's the head of communications, for inviting me to cover this live stream remotely, as I couldn't be in Las Vegas. And I have to say that straight out. And I want to get to your comments. I want to go back here. I'm gonna read your comment regardless of how I feel about it. I'm gonna read these comments because hey, here we go. Right? All right, this is it. Okay. So I think someone was saying, I can't seem to get that out of there. Anyway, Sir Chai says, we do need more young black kids in baseball. The LA Dodgers have Mookie Betts, a popular superstar who Boston Red Sox traded away, and yet contributed to the Dodgers championship. That was in response to, well, this photograph. I thought, you got all these kids up there. This is America. America is diverse. I don't want to go off on a rant about it, so I'm not going to. But, that's the groundbreaking, folks. But, I took a picture because I thought, you know what? Hey, first of all those kids are somebody's, son or daughter. Oh, congratulations for them. But look, not every kid who is interested in ball is white. And the problem, you want to see why baseball fails in attendance, you just saw it. Because it stopped catering to city kids of different colors, all right? And it lost its way that way. It feels like it has to be one color in a multicolored place, the United States. That's wrong, all right? That's wrong. And here's something else, folks, and I'll switch after I say this, but I want to emphasize, we're all mixed up. There isn't anybody in this country, if you go back 300 years in their lives, that can claim to be perfectly one thing. Why? Because, hey, interracial marriages were legal in the United States, but they occur in other parts of the world. So I would bet that there is a 90% chance, which is a sure thing, that each and every person that's watching this has somebody of color or white in their background. Boom. All right? You can't escape it. Okay? So stop with this silly stuff, because that's exactly what it is. Now, let me get to this. Sir Chai says, I know how Pratt and Brazil are fuming. I'll talk about Brody Brazil. Yeah, I know who he is. But here's my point. They took a bad bet. They bet on volume. The idea is, hey, look, if I can get all these folks to watch me, then I'll gain viewers and I'll make money. That's really why they did it, and they need to be honest about it, because what they did was they focused on the fact that you got these irate fans, rightly so, and they didn't understand the gravity of why the athletics are moving and the techniques behind it, because they're not interested in government, and they set themselves up for something that I learned a long time ago in YouTube history, that topics widen waves, okay? And they hit a wave, but they hit a wave based on anger, based on something that was going to subside eventually, and that was the move. You're angry about it, and then it dies down because you're gone on to other things in life, right? That's what happens with these things, unfortunately. So Brody based his career on that, and Casey, my friend Casey Pratt, did too. And I say that because he's been on the program, and I have no problem reaching out to. I like Casey, but he took a bet that didn't work out for him in that way. What should have happened was that he remained at ABC. He got elevated. He got a raise, and he stayed there. But he didn't do that. He quit. He went to work. Either he quit, whatever happened, he went to work for the mayor. And of all the mayors to work for in the history of the city of Oakland, he picked Shang because they had a great personal relationship, and Shang liked him because he made her feel good. Anyway, the whole point is, he made a bad bet, and he wasn't with the city of Oakland, Casey, long enough to be able to draw a pension. Okay? He wasn't there a year. And he didn't stay. And so my point is, he should have got himself another job so he can move over and stay in Oakland, get a pension for his kids. He made a bad bet. And I say that as I made a bad bet back then. I thought, hey, I should not. I'm going to keep the money because I need it now. I'm not going to pay in a lot to Social Security. Folks, don't do that. That's a bad thing. And I thought, I'm never going to retire. And I don't. And that's one thing I'm proud of. I just texted a friend of mine who said, hey, you don't age. Okay, fine. Thank you. This is working of a sort. I love it. I love building things. And the computer makes it possible to work the rest of your life if you want to. It's not a matter of manual labor in the classic sense. And hey, look, when these things begin to respond to my voice and my thoughts, woo, okay, then it's a beautiful thing, okay? So no, but you have to be aware as a young person, like Casey is, what you're doing and how it's going to impact you when you get older, like you're 62 like me, all right? There you go. Okay, and so I say, yep. And so then I said, thank you, Mark, for the compliment up there. Yeah, but I got no Dave Cobble. There was no mention of Dave Cobble. There was, a concerted effort by many to say nothing about Dave Cobble. It's like he's out, he's history. But Dave Cobble made this happen. Did he make mistakes? Yes, he made mistakes. The problem Dave made, or created for himself in that situation, was one of trust. And Las Vegas is a city that is built on trust. How many times during the groundbreaking ceremony did you hear variations of the idea that, hey, look, I can trust this person. I can get something done, and it just took a handshake. That's all it took. That's what John Fisher said. All right. You have to be able to be someone that others can count on. You taking a message on this, Daniel? Okay. You have to be a person that others can count on. You're not going to turn around and turn tail on them or go where the wind blows or anything like that. That does not serve you well in life. It will not serve you well in a place like Las Vegas. All right. It is still very much a small mob town in that way. And that's not a bad thing. I don't say mob town to be derisive. For me, mob means family. So when they say mob, it's a family. And that's how they look at it there. So you don't want to screw that up. Dave didn't get that message. That's the problem. I'll tell you, I went to the 2022 NFL draft in Las Vegas, as many of you who watch the channel know, and I was on the corner. I should break out this video one day. And I was on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Flamingo, right in the middle of it. Why? Because the NFL placed us there for their press conference. It was cool. It wasn't a press conference. It was a presentation. It wasn't a press conference. But I was in it. I was there. Got the video to prove it. And one of the commissioners, one of the Clark County commissioners, one of the Las Vegas Commission and Visitors Authority commissioners recognized me and came over and introduced himself, and we started talking. And during our conversation, he told me that Dave Cobble didn't understand how didn't understand how business worked there. Okay. And there were people who weren't trusting him. You have to be a person that others can trust. But whatever happened, and I still don't know the details of it, but whatever happened, he did not gain trust with the right people. All right, and that's the fact. That really is the fact. And I will at some point find out what it is, but he didn't gain that trust. And so the lesson here is to trust people. All right. So let me continue. Here we go. The big moment. Yep. Mark says Brody Sampson locked on. He calls them ignorant clowns for clicks. Casey has moved on and doesn't seem to talk about this anymore. Okay, fair enough. I was on Locked On. I don't think he's ignorant at all. I asked Woody to come on, okay? I asked, Booney is Locked On A's. I didn't say Brody, I said Booney. But thanks, Mark. Your support means a great deal to me. Hey, join our membership club, by the way. Casey Pratt ruined his reputation. Unfortunately, Corey, you're right. He did. And he said Mark and Vital Vegas. Yeah, and Steve Vital Vegas, very sad, but he was making his financial supporters happy. He hates when I say that, but hey, look, he gets paid to do this sort of thing, and he has an opinion. You put 2 and 2 together, you come up with 4. You can't have an opinion and then get paid and then think that the person paying you isn't totally happy with, isn't not happy with that statement he's made consistently about the A's. It's one thing in this business if you have an opinion about something that maybe one of your sponsors doesn't agree with, but it's not the whole view that's driving you. In other words, you're not spending show after show after show talking about it. But if you spend show after show after show or post after post after post online referring to it, then it becomes a central part of your message. And if you're getting compensated, guess what? You're getting compensated because you're presenting that message. So I don't care what Vital Vegas says. He is getting compensated to be against the Athletics. And that's a fact. You cannot run away from that. He's tried to make a comment on our NFL News by Zinni 62 site saying that he doesn't get compensated. But he does. Because you know and I know if they didn't like him saying it as often as he does, they would have pulled their money a long time ago. I'm talking about casino.org. All right? So that stuff's ridiculous. I don't buy that for a second. Corey Ford, so Chai says to Corey Ford, yeah, he crashed out for Shang Tao, who was stealing money and giving out garbage contracts to friends. Oh, okay. Hey, you know what? Good for Casey. He escaped getting involved in that. I knew he was shaking in his boots when that started happening, man. Whew. Oh, had to have been. Mark says Vital Vegas has doubled down. Not only says the A's ballpark will never be completed, but also the Bright Line bullet train will never finish. I don't believe that either. The reason is that with the A's ballpark coming, and that's the newest magnet drawing people to move to Las Vegas and the South Valley, okay? With all that happening, you want a bullet train there. You need a bullet train there. You got to have a bullet train there. The bullet train's going to be there. Pay no attention to him. Corey Ford says, Sir Chai, I didn't know he was stealing money. Yeah, you want to talk about that? No. I don't know. She wasn't stealing. Well, stealing money. He was referring to Corey Ford. He's referring to Shang getting these behind the back deals to put money by the dongs to put money into her pocket. That's what he refers to as stealing money. Okay, and so right. She's under FBI investigation for lying, embezzlement, primarily, and it's actually more than that. There are more counts than that. I had a list of the counts at zinireport.com. I'll get. I had a list of what the counts were. Zinni Optical bought a sponsored ad over Zinni Report. Screw you guys. Excuse me. I get tired of these nincompoops. Zinni Glasses owes me a lot of money, man. I'm gonna figure out a way to sue them big time. Okay. I'm getting a text from a friend of mine from the groundbreaking. Okay. And so let me see if I can bring up something for Zinni Report that I think you should see in that regard, okay? And I'll bring that up in a second. Then while that's coming up, let's see here. Actually, I'm scrolling down here now. And there's a lot here. Hold on. Okay. Yep. And I'm reminded of the fact that, okay, something else. Shang Tao was trying to get, let me take you through what I'm doing here, folks, so you're not blind. All right, this is what I'm doing. Let me stop this screen there. I'll stop that screen and I'll bring up the other one with Zinni Report on it so you can see what I'm doing. Let's see here. No, that's searching this. Oh, not that one. There. Okay, that's what I'm doing. All right, and I'll put that here. Okay, here. All right, for the time being, and I'll scroll back through it. This is zinniareport.com. I built this site, very proud of it. It's got a lot of Oakland content on it. And let's see here. Going here. Straw donors take new life. Subpoena. Budget vote. Recall committee resists ethics abuse. Web. Dave Duong on how he arranged Mayor Tao's. Yeah, that's worth reading, folks. And so, oh, by the way, here's something. All right, here's something. I don't know if you remember this or not. Okay, talk about Casey. All right, Casey playing sign games with the mayor. They were a little too chummy to me. I always thought something else was going on. And knowing Shang, that's a possibility. Okay, I'm just saying. Okay, I'm just saying. All right. All right. Now, go back to, whoops, not the groundbreaking part here, but this part, and then going back to that part. Yeah. But anyway, what I was looking for, I had a chart of what she was charged for. It was long. Okay. And quite long and disturbingly long. And so, let's see here. What does the subpoena mean? Okay, if that will open. There, it opened. All right. Department of Justice. Okay, the grand jury subpoena. That was a subpoena that was written to them. That was before the indictment. Okay? But this is what they wanted. It's worth reading. Documents and communications relating to California Waste Solutions, Andre Jones, the Oakland Army Base, and the City of Oakland as well. So, in Oakland council member Shang Tao was accused of violating campaign law and treatment of Liana Powell, if you recall. So that was one thing, and a number of indictments were actually caused by my reporting. Okay, because I sent them to the ethics commission. All right, so I don't want to get too off onto that, but zinniareport.com, and you've got to check it out. Also, because there's a lot here, but I also have a list. One of these has a list of her total charges. The charges the charges in total will cause her to face up to 95 years. 95 years in jail. All right? 95 years in jail. Okay? I believe this is it, folks. Hold on a second. Let's go down here. And see transparency. And yeah, there's the indictment. Okay, here's the indictment, folks. Here's the indictment. There's the indictment. All right. Hold on a second. I'll come back to that. But I want to get this out of the way so you'll know, because this is a part of the story, folks. Okay? It's part of the story. All right? These are the violations: conspiracy, bribery, concerning programs receiving federal funds. All right? Honest services mail fraud, aiding and abetting. Honest services mail fraud again, aiding and abetting again, false statements, and forfeiture allegation. Those are the violations claimed. All right? Okay? It says the grand jury charges at all times relevant to this indictment leading up to the 2022 Oakland mayoral election and following her election as mayor. Shang Tao engaged in a corrupt relationship with her partner Andre Jones and local businesses, defendants Dave Duong and Andy Duong. As part of the corrupt relationship, Tao promised to take official actions as mayor of Oakland to benefit Dave Duong and Andy Duong. Dave is the matriarch, the man who is the creator of California Waste Solutions. Andy Duong is one of his sons. In exchange for various benefits to Shang Tao and Andre Jones, among other acts, Tao promised to commit the City of Oakland to purchase housing units from the Duongs, to extend the contract for Duong and Andy Duong and Recycling Company, and to appoint senior city officials selected by Duong and Andy Duong and co-conspirator one, a local businessman, that's Mario Juarez, and longtime associate of Dave Duong and Andy Duong. Now, that also should implicate Justin Johnson, the current city administrator. All right? Because I was told by a source that Shang told city administrator Justin Johnson that as part of his job, he had to go meet with the Duongs and get their blessing. Okay? All right. So, and co-conspirator one promised to pay $75,000 to fund negative mailers targeting Tao's opponents in the mayoral election, and to make $300,000 in direct payments for a no-show job to Jones for the benefit of Tao and Jones. In furtherance of the corrupt relationship, Dave Duong and Andy Duong spent $75,000 to fund a negative mailer in support of Tao's campaign. Following the mayoral election, Dave Duong and Andy Duong, co-conspirator one, that's Mario Juarez, paid $95,000 to Jones for the benefit of Jones and Tao, with a promise of additional payments. Once in office, Shang Tao took steps to carry out her end of the corrupt arrangement, including using her influence to help appoint a high-level City of Oakland official selected by Dave Duong and Andy Duong in co-conspirator one, as well as other steps to benefit Dave Duong and Andy Duong's housing company and recycling company. Okay? All right? And relevant individuals and entities. But anyway, it goes on. So my point is that you now understand what the issue was behind that, okay? All right, you now understand that, all right? So let's continue. We got that, Corey? So, all right? Yeah. So, go down here. Corey says they probably smoked weed together. Casey made a bad bet. Yeah. Yeah. Gibson mentioned him once. That was it. Yeah, talking about, yep, Cobble. And then Brett Remington says that. Brett Remington just once correct. Brett says, basically these people won't stop making noise until the park is built and they're playing there, just exploiting the bitterness of people who lost all their teams in their city for an audience. And they need, see, here's the point, here's my issue. The folks you're talking about don't live in Oakland. They don't care about Oakland. And that's the heart of the problem. They claim that they're mad about the A's, but they should be mad about Oakland government and asked to do a deep dive in what's going on. We just had last year the first recall of this city's history, and yet these people, I'm talking about folks like Mr. Brazil and Scott Robin, who is Vital Vegas, don't even care to focus on Oakland government. You have to ask, do they vote? All right? Do they actually even bother to get involved in local elections? Do they understand taxation and other issues like that? I mean, are they just these people who just literally sit on the couch and do nothing? Right? Well, what do you do with that time if you're not going to study who you're going to vote for or legislation or anything else? These folks are like that, and yet they have their own broadcast to communicate nothing but untruths. And that's a fact, Jack, okay? They don't want to think rigorously at all. We are Zinsters. Zinsters use their what? Their brain. You all think. You understand what I'm talking about, okay? All right? Sir Chai says, couldn't agree more. Social media is a hell of a drug. When I read the comments on Facebook, last dive bar comment section, it's so toxic and hateful against Fisher, I avoid that crowd. Yeah, and you're right to do so. People don't like to hear this, all right? Uh, oh, 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 hold on a second. Hold on. I'm trying to get some info. Just trying to get some info. I hope it was okay. At any rate, okay. Brett is absolutely right about that. But here's the thing, okay? They might be trying to exploit that business, but that crowd of people that's going to listen to them is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And with each passing day that the stadium, the ballpark is developed, that's one more day that crowd gets that much smaller. Because the reality will set in, and then they'll look at the design, and others around the world will start talking about it, and they will be surrounded at some point by people, I guarantee you, in their midst, they don't know, talking about this thing, and they'll wish, oh my God, make them stop. Too bad. Too bad. You should get after Oakland government for not doing its job. So Chai says, waste management doesn't take too kindly when it comes to garbage monopolies. Kate Moo! Kate Moo says, we knew this day was coming. Yep, it's here. It's here, Kate. It is here. And it's a sad day. And oh, by the way, Dave Cowell did not attend the groundbreaking. Dave Cowell did not attend the groundbreaking. Yeah, Dave Cowell did not attend the groundbreaking, folks. How about that? So there's definitely some bad blood between the Athletics and Dave Cowell. And I don't know what went down to cause that to happen. You know, I really don't. Okay. Well, hold on a second. Something happened. Okay, you don't go from being the president of the Athletics on the biggest project of your life and the A's lives for that to happen. And so Sir Chai says, I just hope Ray can fix the Coliseum and bring sports back. Yeah, and even then we'll have to see, right? In fact, let me make a call. I haven't heard from Andy Dolich. Maybe Dolich is gonna. Maybe Dolich wants to sing a song or two, huh? Let me see here. See if that's the case. I wonder. One moment, folks. I meant to do this yesterday. He might be there though. I don't know. Hey Andy, you might be in Las Vegas at the groundbreaking. I have a live stream going. I was going to try to get you on for some comments. But hey, if you get this, and give me a shout out if I'm still going. I'll bring you on. 510-517-7565. See ya. Okay. Maybe I should send him a link. I think I'll do that. Hold on a second, folks. Trying to. Yeah. Invite there. Copy. Then I've got to go down here. All right. Dolich. Dolich. There he is. live stream. On A's. Okay. All right. Live stream on A's there. Boom. Okay, there's that. So let's see what others are saying on Twitter, folks. Let's have a look. Oh, message failed to send? That's weird. I just called him. Whatever. Okay. I'll just let that stand. All right. Let's see what's going on Twitter, folks. Let us see what we're able to bring up. Twitter. Twitter is that one, and here's Twitter. Let's see if the ballpark matter hit the okay, there's Twitter. Hey, he says, how long till Oakland fans turn on the Ballers? I don't think the Ballers have enough fans to be turned on. The Ballers are a small organization. I like what they're doing. They're good for West Oakland. I have nothing but great things to say about the Ballers. I'm glad they're around. Okay, I really am. And yeah, Ricky Henderson of Blogs got that one. I'd much rather see it in Oakland. That was great by Dave. Yeah, I have to break that one out. That was hilarious. I've got that one. And future home plate. Let me increase the size of this so you can see it better. There it is. Show Enough says, Brody Brazil is a shill who's been throwing a tantrum since he was fired and now has no real career to look forward to other than running his sad channel where he gets clicks from rage bait. Well, that's sad. I don't wish people ill. He says, Brody cried on TV, and I don't think it was because the A's were leaving. I think it was performative because he knew his career was likely going in the toilet. But sure enough, I thought Brody just commented on baseball. I didn't think his career was tied to just, the athletics and the ballpark. And so my source is saying regarding why Cobble's not there, he's saying, I couldn't see him being here with the regime change with Bedane. So it wasn't so much that I'm writing back makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense, okay? In other words, if you are the new guy, you don't want the old guy coming in and, horning in on your parade because, well, he left, right? Okay? I got that one. And so he says, but where is his career now? Well, that's what Shown Up says. And Sir Chai says, good, Shown Up, good point. It was performative, but that crying landed him a job with the San Jose Sharks. Ah, there you go. Can you imagine when the Sharks demand a new hockey arena? Will Brody be pro-public funding? But see, that I didn't know that. Good for Brody. I don't wish people ill will. I don't have ill will toward Brody. Okay? He says, Shonuff says, yeah, I wouldn't expect Cobble to be there. Yeah. Actually, I feel like he should have been there. And I would, if I were John Fisher, I would have handled it that way. But that is a big if. If I knew exactly what the circumstances were behind him resigning. Something happened, okay? And my friend, we go back 30 years, my friend and I. He works for the A's. And so we've seen a lot of folks come and go. And he knows better than I know how that organization works, or he wouldn't have been connected with the organization for as long as he has been. All right? Something happened. Okay? Something happened. All right? You don't just up and leave. So So Chai says, fair point, but I didn't know him. I'm a sounds like I'm a Sharks. I like the Sharks. I'm a fan, but I didn't know that. Shona says, sorry, I'm just now jumping in, but I drove down to see this and couldn't get much of a view. Oh, okay. Okay. Hey, the good news about this is you can go back and wait a minute. I'm wondering now. Let me see something here. I do believe, I think in fairness, since we're all talking about him, let me see if I can get him on here. That would be fair. He'll probably say no. We'll find out. We'll find out. Ring, 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 ring. Ring, ring. It's still ringing. Pick up the phone, Casey. Yeah, it's Casey Pratt I'm calling. Ah, voicemail. Hey, Casey, come on the show. Share your view. See ya. He's probably working and busy. All right. Come on the show. Let me send him a link. Hold on a second. Come on the show, right? Oh, the show. Let me copy this. Copy. All right. And there. All right. So let it be known that I called Casey Pratt and invited him to come on the show. Okay? Yeah. Okay. So anyway, Sir Chai says, I'm not an SF Giants hater, but you can tell Brody refused to talk about A's, and he's low-key Giants fan. I think Brody has been a Giants fan for a good while now. Brett Remington says he was employed by the Giants first, lest we forget. I didn't realize that. So Chai says, Zinni, I have noticed Alameda County Walmart and Target don't have A's gear, but only have Giants gear. Wow. Can Fisher sue? Because Oakland is still his market. Can they sell Raiders gear in East Bay? Well, that quick answer, that's a private decision on the part of Walmart and Target, so you can't sue them for not carrying your product. If you're not in the region, there's no law that says they have to do that, even if they were in the region. Okay? So we have Dodger Blues says Brody does videos on far more than the A's in the stadium situation. His channel's grown to over 80,000 subscribers. Good for him. Wait a minute, how many did he buy? Hey, sometimes people buy those subscribers. Anyway, and so Brody should spend. Okay, anyway, I don't think you can sue a private company for that. No, you can't. That's what I was saying. The MLB region doesn't apply to private companies. No, right. So it's not anything you can do. There's nothing you can do about that. Okay, nothing. At all. So let's see here. Where are we? Now, and so Dodger Blue says he doesn't do that many A's videos now. He seems to be diversifying. No, I mean that's a great thing, to do that. I think. Look, it's tough to make money. I don't know, unless you have a sponsor. It's tough to make money on YouTube alone, and with the views he's getting, I haven't seen any of his videos clear 1 million views. All right, because then you're talking about real money. I mean, living money you can live on. At that rate, you have to have another job, or you have to do it the way that I do it, where the video is the ones that make you the huge money are done for clients that need content creation, right? That's how you have to do it today, because there's so many people making videos today that it's crowded. All right, and that ad dollar can only be stretched so much. Okay, so I still does some. Let me cover this. Okay, So Chai says, I hope to see the Dodgers versus the A's at the new ballpark. You will. He's still doing videos claiming the ballpark isn't getting built. That's irresponsible. I have to agree with that. That is intellectually irresponsible. And you can actually get penalized on YouTube for doing that. I don't know if people know that. But you can be penalized for doing just that. You can be penalized for that kind of activity. Let me scroll through here, by the way. See what else is here. Why wait for a one-way ticket to Mars? Let me see. You've got all of this. How about A's groundbreaking? A's. Oh, yeah, A's Stadium. All right, so this is under A's Stadium. We get LV Sports Biz. Okay, he's got his photographs there. That's Dallas Braden. This is the stage that you saw. This photograph is of Sandy. I don't know, can you see that? From the groundbreaking. Looks like a fun time being had by all. I don't know if you can see that or not. You can see it. Okay, yeah, you can see that. Sometimes on Twitter, if you take up a panel of a photograph, it doesn't get shown on YouTube. It's kind of weird, but that's not a problem anymore. Okay. So anyway, you saw that, and so we scroll down. Nick Walters says owner John Fisher and his family with shovels in hand. A's ballpark groundbreaking. So this was happening off camera. Okay. And then Nick Walters says after a 4-year process getting to this point, the soon-to-be Las Vegas A's are holding their groundbreaking ceremony in a manner of moments. Okay, that's old. And then A's, this is old too. That's Oakland. That's Mitch Akers, and the ground is officially broken. And okay, so we got all that. All right. So this is history in the making. Goldschmidt happens, says going to Vegas and catching a baseball game is going to be so electric. Shovel in the ground today. Very happy it's happening. The A's deserve a home and to play home games in front of more than 5,000 people in an actual MLB caliber stadium. He's not wrong. Okay? He's not wrong. So some of these don't come out to be because it's us. It's like Oz Stadium, right? So what you have to do is athletics, groundbreaking, like that. Athletics groundbreaking. There. Mike Davis, the moment. See that? Mike Davis has got it. That's the latest. Mike Davis TV. And Rick Vallada, Athletics hosts Las Vegas ballpark groundbreaking ceremony. There he goes. Had Rick on this show a while back. He's a little bit of a survey guy. Miguel Sora says from an outsider, the Vegas move might seem legit, but driven by the Las Vegas officials so it doesn't fail. I think the move to Las Vegas will happen, but it'll be because of the LVCVA driving it. Whether it happens under Fisher is unclear. That's ridiculous. Okay, Clark County, Nevada, groundbreaking for the Athletics ballpark in Las Vegas. Commissioner Gibson joined A's owner John Fisher. I think I'll follow that person there. Boom. John Fisher, Joseph M. Lombardo, others in turning over the shovel of ceremonial dirt. Nice. It is a real groundbreaking. The Athletics had their Las Vegas ballpark groundbreaking today, it says. Okay. And let me get back to your comments here. All right. So it says, I don't see, let me get this. All right. Let me go back to here. I'm missing some of your comments. So I'm live for in Vegas. I'll be going to every one of the Dodgers games. Dodger Blue says, I live in Vegas. I'll be going to every one of the Dodgers games. Brett Remington says, the A's will appreciate the money. Ha ha! Show Enough says, Yeah. Dodger Blues says to show enough. So Chai says to both Show Enough and Dodger Blues, I just hope the A's players stay out of trouble. Yes! Plenty of money, women, and booze. He said wine. I said booze. In Vegas, especially when the team starts winning. Oh my God! That's hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious. Oh, he says, I went to see some games in Sacktown. It was fun, but I can see why it isn't getting the pull and attraction they thought it would. It doesn't have a major league feel to it. That's something. That's something. Dodger Bruce says, they are certainly leaning all in on the Las Vegas A's, but pretty much all of us out here are hoping for a rebrand to make it more like the Knights and not a relocation. Interesting. Interesting. Quite interesting. And so Shona says VG, the Knights and the Raiders players seem to stay out of trouble here. Yeah, they kind of do. Well, do they? Dr. Blue says Raiders and VK and visiting players have fared okay. 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 That's funny. That's funny. That's funny. And then we have. Oops. What? I wasn't intending to go there. I was intending to go here. Yes. All right. And let's go back and see what some of the latest tweets are. And then at the top of the hour, I have to work on getting out of here. It's in 13 minutes. Because we would have been on for 3 hours. Not bad. Not bad at all. Arash, history in the making. At the Athletics groundbreaking this morning. A's, nice cap. It's just like they should have a commemorative groundbreaking cap. Hey, there we are. I do not know who the lovely ladies are. Or maybe they're part of the union. I don't know. I have no idea. I will give it this, and I'll give it a repost. How's that? Okay. Does anybody know who all these folks are? I wonder if my friend Guy Hobbs is in the audience. I didn't hear about Guy. Let me call Guy Hobbs and see if I can get a hold of him. Can we get comps? Let's see here. Guy Hobbs is the stadium bond meister or master, depending on your disposition. Just kidding. Hobbs. There he is. Let's see which number I should use here. Let me see here. Nope, that's not it. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right, let me see here. Let's go here. Let's go mobile. There. Like that. Let me see if I can get him on here. Probably not. Can we comp the visiting players and get them hung over for a game? That's funny. Sure. I swear, Caleb. Hey guys, this is Zinni Abraham calling. I say congratulations. Perhaps you're at the groundbreaking. Don't know. I was trying to get you on the show. 510-517-7565. All right. Hope you're well. See ya. All right. So, at any rate, boom. I swear, Caitlin Clark looked a little tired at the Aces Fear game yesterday. What are you implying? Just say it. All right. Shona says, I believe the lady to the left is future wife. For me, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Of course, I'm 3,000 miles away. At any rate, but that's hilarious. Okay. let's see what other goodies we have on Twitter. Uh, Folks, opining about this and that. Okay, got that, and that, and that, and that. Let me see, but this. Michelle Haley reposted something about Bay Area and Iranian community, Oakland news. All right. Let's see the latest comments. Mike Davis endures. Okay. That's a cool photograph by Evan Schreiber. Shovels in the ground at the ceremonial groundbreaking ceremony of the new athletics ballpark on the Las Vegas Strip. Cue John Fogerty, the Bay Area native and an athletics fan, with center field. Owner John Fisher and his family with shovels in hand. Our crew at the A's ballpark. That's UNLV baseball. Oh, good for them. Miguel Soriera. Don't know who he is. Why is the groundbreaking indoors? Because it's hot outside. Look at this. Okay? Look at this. Why is the groundbreaking indoors? Hey, Google, what's the temperature in Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas, it's currently 86 degrees.
It's 86 degrees. It's hot, okay? It's probably, but you know what? Hopefully that bubble there was air conditioned too. I would think that it would be, but it was hot. And if you've been to Vegas, you know it's a humid hot. Okay, that's what's going on there. Okay? Miguel says, next up, Dinah Titus talks being Vegas sports capital, Steve Yeager, and Jim Gibson mentions secret meeting at the mob. Manfred and him also mentions Cobble. Back to Dallas Braden to start the 7th inning stretch with Little Leaguers. We got it. And Matt Marner to Vegas says the groundbreaking ceremony for the future home of the Athletics already has me thinking about how great it's going to feel to be World Series champions again. Let me tell you something. There's a number I want you to remember, folks, okay? There's a number I want you to remember, folks, because, all right, you saw it here first. I want you to remember this number. All right, it's right here. Okay, hold on a second. All right, okay, I want you to pay attention to this, okay? This is what I'm telling you this. Listen, the A's will clear $700 million year one from the ballpark in Las Vegas. $700 million. I calculated that based on the tax revenue that the consultants estimated the A's would make. So I took the rates that those basic predictions were based on, and then I simply divided them by their source, and I came up with, and I totaled them, did the math, in other words, just north of $700 million. $700 million, okay? $700 million. Yeah, that's huge, all right? That's huge. That's the most money the A's will ever see in their lives as a facility, as an organization, to that point. Okay? $700 million. All right? $700 million. Big ones. Yeah, numbers they never saw in Oakland. Or at any period in the existence of the Athletics. $700 million year one. That's why everyone's talking World Series. Because everyone knows that when they're able to hoard all that money.
Could you try again?
No, I can't, Siri. Everyone knows when you hoard that money.
I won't respond to that.
Good, don't. Everyone knows when you hoard that money that you are able to pay for players at the top tier. And that is where the Athletics are going to be. That is where the Athletics are going to be. Okay? All right? Shonuff says, okay, I having it indoors. I would have done the same thing. Shonuff says, she thinks you're saying, I'm not repeating that. So very funny, Decay. Um, he says it's not that hot today. It's actually direct sunlight and heat. Interesting. Dodge says when this was scheduled, it was over 100 degrees. They also didn't want to be literally standing in the middle of a construction site. It was optics. Yeah, I mean, you gotta look. That place in there's got to be air conditioned. They didn't erect that on a site with all these machines, right? You gotta have a portable air conditioner. Pump air into that system. Cool air, cold air. Make it nice. All right. I don't believe they would do that. They look like they were comfortable. Right? Besides, it doesn't make any sense. John Fisher's a billionaire. You can't even afford your own air conditioning system. Of course. All right. So remember that 700 million. Okay. 700 million. All right, folks. It is 1:56, and all things, all good things must come to an end sometimes. Unfortunately, this is one of them. Thank you all for joining me on. Thank you for the athletics, allowing me to do this and inform me how to do it. And it's very nice. And congratulations to them. And thank you. And I'm worried for Joe Lacob. The Steph Curry era is over, and too many fair weather fans in the Bay Area. I agree with you, Sir Chai. So hey, so riddle me this. I still think this is a possibility. What do you think of the possibility that the Warriors would be team number 3 from Oakland that winds up in Las Vegas? Just saying. I'm just saying. Okay? Now, they own their facility. So they have less incentive to give up than the Raiders did or the A's, which are both in publicly owned facilities where they did not enjoy all the revenue. Now they're in a publicly owned facility, but the Raiders get to hog the revenue, regardless of whatever else goes on there. All right? That's pretty cool. Okay? That's pretty cool. All right? That's pretty cool. Okay. So it's 1:58. And anyone ever have any thought? Oh, wait a minute. He says it's possible. Dodge Drew says 0% chance. Okay? He says it's possible. Dodger says they have a brand new arena and expansion team where the Mavs come. He's right. The Valkyries factor is there too. So I think with Vegas having been reminded of that, thank you, we are staring at an expansion situation. Las Vegas what? Las Vegas what? Warrior? What the heck is that? Oh, Warriors. Las Vegas Warriors could happen. God. They're in SF now, different government. I agree with Dodger Blues. I'm going to stick with that. The Warriors are where they're going to be. And it would take a ton of money to pull them out of there. Dodger Bruce says the Mavs have Vegas ownership. Ms. Sheldon Adelson's wife, Miriam. That's right. So the Mavs, in fact, that would be a good choice. The Las Vegas Mavericks. I don't think San Francisco is going to screw up the Giants and Warriors. I don't either. Especially under Dan Lurie. I don't think that's happening either. I quite agree with you. All right, folks. Live long and prosper in your world. I'll be back later. All right? Please subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube. And please join our membership club. We have 3 members already. We need you to be the 4th. Okay? And the 5th. And the 6th. And the 7th. And the 8th. And the 9th. And the 10th. And the 11th. And so on. Name could stay. Mavs poker reference. Ha ha! Got it. I got it. All right, folks. It's 2 o'clock. I gotta go. Please join. And also, hey, thank you for the donations. I need, really trying to raise money here. So, whatever you can do to help us get there would be fantastic. Raise money to continue running this, and to eat. I'm going all out on building a YouTube business like I had before. The rush started to YouTube and it became harder to make money. You have to really dedicate yourself in a way that you didn't have to before. But I'm all about doing that. But I'm also all about finding clients for Zenny 62 Media. So I will part with this, folks, as a message. If you don't like how you look online, if you've got a problem where someone wrote something about you, or maybe the media is coming after you or something like that, or you know friends who have that problem, Zenny62, okay? That's right. Send them to Zenny62media.com and contact me. There's our website. Let us tell your story. Zenny62 Media, online news, reputation management. That's what we do. We do online news, reputation management. We have a beautiful website. There's the home, okay? Our investor information, right? Our services. Let Zenny62 Media tell your story, okay? And you should hire us for reputation management. We do press releases, news posts. The prices are all here. We can make video posts there, all right? Online ads, online marketing, online reputation management, specialized news research posts. We cover events, sponsors, and we cover the NFL sponsors there. We do content creation and content. You should hire us for content marketing there. And we do content creation, as I said, okay? So, we do it all. Let Zenny62 Media tell your story, all right? Tell your story. I don't think, yeah. This is for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. All right, I'll see you all later, everybody. Thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you had fun, hey, join the membership club, please. We'll see ya. See ya.